She concealed her identity as a woman to live. However, her father, who badly wanted a daughter, was planning to have her beaten until she died. The girl felt so furious, she wanted to curse him, calling him a dog and a tyrant. Because that deceitful child will be the reason that I am killed. With an irrational and foolish ruler like you, it is no surprise Western Chu will collapse in 10 years. The emperor panicked when he heard this, since he did not see anyone's lips moving. But he could hear the child speaking. Was it possible he could hear the child's private thoughts? Juju had been an orphan with no parents. She was unlucky from birth. Unexpectedly, after winning a billion-dollar lottery, she was crushed by someone who jumped from a building. She angrily grabbed the tongues of the black and white impermanents and made a scene in the King of Hell's palace. To calm her down, the King of Hell promised she would be a beloved princess in her next life. She believed she could at last enjoy a life of wealth and luxury. However, when she awoke, she discovered she was in a rundown room. Her mother was not joyful about her birth, showing a sad expression instead. Even though the emperor badly wanted a daughter, I am in the cold palace, accused of treason. To keep her safe, I will announce publicly that I have given birth to a prince. She will be disguised as a man, so that other people will not be jealous of her. Juju was stunned when she heard this. King of Hell, you are a big liar. Where is the beloved princess I was promised? Where is the wealth? I am tired. Let everything be destroyed. In what seemed like a moment, 5 years went by. She had never seen the emperor, and she could not even secure basic living needs. She had intended to just get through her life. But one day her peace was disturbed by an arrogant girl. Who is that short winter melon climbing the tree? Why do you not kneel when you see Princess Anyang? Who are you calling a short winter melon? I am talking about you, of course. But why does the name Princess Anyang seem so familiar to me? Suddenly, Juju was shocked as if by lightning. She recalled everything. It seemed she had transmigrated into a historical romance novel, and Funkai Wei was the female main character. Her father, the emperor, who had no daughters, raised Funkai Wei, a girl from the royal clan. He not only loved her like his own daughter, but he also engaged her to the crown prince. Later, when Western Chu fell, Funkai Wei traveled to the southern kingdom. Step by step, she rose from a palace maid to the empress, uniting the world with the southern kingdom's emperor. She was a powerful heroine, and she, a disposable character, not only had a mysterious identity, but would be killed by her own father today. Funkai Wei was moving closer. What is your name? Which palace's little brat are you? Juju did not respond for a long time. The arrogant princess lifted her hand to hit her. How dare you disrespect me? Believe it or not, I will kill you. Juju quickly put her hand up to block. What are you doing? Go away now. Funkai Wei was trembling with anger. But then her lips formed into a wicked smile. The next moment she began to cry loudly. Imperial uncle, this boy stole from me and said he'd scratch my face. This left Juju completely shocked. Goodness, she changes her act faster than turning the pages of a book. Juju felt an instinctive chill run down her spine. She turned around and saw the emperor standing behind her with a grim expression. Arrest that boy for daring to bully Funkai Wei. I will see to it that he is slaughtered. He comforted the crying Funkai Wei on one side, while on the other he stared fiercely at Juju. Juju's heart felt bitter. Is the emperor really trying to kill me? Even tigers do not eat their own young. He is my biological father. But when these words reached the emperor's ears, he froze for a moment. Is this boy speaking? But I did not see his mouth move. Could it be his private thoughts? What is this boy's identity? From which palace is he? Swan respectfully replied. He's the 18th prince from the Cold Palace, born to Consort Li. Who did I think it was? He is not even a daughter. What is so special? Someone dragged this boy down and beat him to death. Juju felt so angry she wanted to curse. Are you serious? What is so good about that lying child? When did I steal from her? She saw I was handsome and wanted to scratch my face. She speaks nonsense and cries a few tears, and the emperor actually believes her. How absurd. With such an unreasonable emperor, it is no wonder that Western Chu will fall. Western Chu will fall. The emperor's heart skipped a beat. Wait, I have something that I need to ask him. It does not matter if what he said was true. Such things cannot be treated lightly. He turned his attention to Funkai Wei. Funkai Wei, tell me, what did he steal from you? Funkai Wei was stumped. Before, whenever she said this, the emperor would kill the person. Why did he ask so many questions today? So she secretly tossed her own bracelet into the nearby grass. Imperial uncle, he stole my gold bracelet. He was afraid I would find it, so he secretly threw it there. Juju's eyes nearly rolled back hearing this. Do you think everyone is stupid? Of all places, you threw it right behind you. Any person with eyes can tell something is wrong. Unless a person is blind in both heart and eyes. The insulted emperor looked speechless. Brat, I can see it as well. You do not need to say it. Looking at Funkai Wei again, the emperor's eyes revealed a hint of anger. I have given you so much. I gave you whatever you wanted, yet you speak only lies. Do I need to call the guards over before you will finally tell the truth? Seeing the emperor was truly angry, Funkai Wei fell to her knees. I will never dare to do this again. Someone send Funkai Wei to the Empress Dowager. When she is properly disciplined, send her to noble consort Jiang. Has this emperor had a change of heart? How has he suddenly become so wise? Just as Juju finished her private thought, she saw the emperor glaring at her with anger. So frightening. Is the emperor trying to kill me with just his gaze? Funkai Wei feared the Empress Dowager the most, and hurriedly cried to noble consort Jiang for assistance. Noble consort Jiang was also worried. Funkai Wei was her secret tool for staying in favor. If she left, the emperor would not visit her palace anymore. Your Majesty, you love Funkai Wei the most. Can you really bear to let her suffer? Shut up. The situation today is because you did not discipline her properly. Starting now, you will also reflect in confinement. At that moment, the emperor noticed Juju trying to sneak away quietly. While he stayed calm on the outside, he felt strange. Although this boy did speak the truth, why could I hear his private thoughts? Could he possibly be some type of monster? Juju felt unsettled being stared at this way. Isn't the truth already obvious? Why is he looking at me like that? He is not still planning to kill me, right? No, Juju is very afraid of pain. The emperor was carefully observing him. This boy had said Funkai Wei was jealous of his looks, so he wanted to see how handsome he was. His face was delicately featured like jade, more refined than his 17 brothers. If he were a daughter, he would be lovable. What a shame. Thinking this, the emperor sighed with regret. Swan, escort the 18th prince back to his palace. Before she left, Juju glanced at the emperor. This father of mine is not stupid. If he was this wise before, he would not have been tricked into sending my mother to the cold palace. But my father will not have a good end, because the bridge he will walk on will collapse, and he will break his leg. He does not care about our lives, so let him die for all I care. The emperor was so furious he almost vomited blood. That brat is secretly cursing me in his heart again. Swan escorted her to the cold palace entrance, but before he left, Juju felt hesitant. Swan, remember to remind my father, the emperor. Later, after he reaches the lake in the garden, he should wait for the time it takes to drink tea before he crosses the bridge. Meanwhile, the emperor felt worried. He looked at the calm lake, thinking about what Juju had said just now. The prediction of the kingdom falling was uncertain, but he could check if he would break his leg. At this moment, Swan caught up. Your Majesty, please wait. Let us have a cup of tea before we continue. The emperor was secretly pleased. It must be that brat who reminded Swan, so he came to stop me. At least he has a conscience. So he truly decided to have some tea before he left, just to see if the bridge would actually collapse. After sitting quietly for 2.5 minutes, the emperor's expression changed a little. It seemed the boy's words might not be true. At that moment, someone reported that ministers were waiting at the study about urgent matters to discuss. The emperor stood up to leave after he heard this, but the next moment, he heard a loud crash as the entire bridge fell into the water. The emperor felt a surge of fear. He could not imagine what would have happened if he walked on it. Even if he had not died, he would likely be paralyzed, and Western Chu would be without a leader, ending in pieces. It seems that boy really did have the ability to see the future. This was not a monster, but it was a very good sign. The emperor was silent for a long time. Dismiss those people from the study, but keep the imperial advisor. Now, I am going to the cold palace. Meanwhile, Juju returned to the cold palace. Her mother held her, crying beautifully. You scared me to death. Back then, your brother also sneaked out and was put in prison. He hasn't been released. I only have you left. Seeing her mother's sadness, Juju reached out her small hand to wipe away her mother's tears. Mother, do not cry. When I grow up, I will definitely give you a good life. As for her brother, now was not the right moment. She needed to wait for a particular person to come back to the palace. Her mother looked at her with love. I do not care about a good life. As long as my Juju is safe, I am happy. Juju felt emotional. Mother is truly beautiful, kind, and gentle. That blind emperor is so very lucky. Unknown to her, since the moment Juju was born, her mother could hear her thoughts. At this moment she smiled. This child, even though she is young, has many secrets hidden in her heart. Suddenly, a maid came to report. Oh no, the emperor is here. Consort Li felt as if she was facing a great enemy. If the emperor came to the cold palace for no reason, it would not be a good thing. Juju, hide quickly. No matter what happens, do not come out. But Juju knew why the emperor was here. So she comforted her mother. Do not be afraid. Maybe the emperor is here to take us out. But her mother suddenly looked sad. We will probably have to stay in this cold palace for our whole lives. With the announcement, His Majesty arrives, the emperor appeared at the door the next second. He looked around at the cold palace's condition. These conditions are too harsh. This is no place for a person to live. But when he saw Consort Li, the emperor's eyes suddenly became bright. He never expected that even in plain clothes, she was still so beautiful and even more charming than before. After he sat down, the emperor began to think, although Juju deserved a reward for saving him. With so many people around, it would not be good to say she can predict the future. What if revealing it made her unhappy, and she refused to predict things for me anymore? Looking at Consort Li, the emperor's lips suddenly curved into a smile. I have been thinking about your treason case. I feel things are not so simple. I am planning to reinvestigate the case. And you have done well raising the 18th prince. Starting today, you can move out of the cold palace. My father finally had a change of heart. Please keep acting like this. Maybe I will begin to like my father. The emperor's mouth twitched. Everyone in the world likes me. I do not need your affection. But then Juju's expression became sad. My father definitely does not want my affection. I was just being too emotional. The emperor immediately felt guilty. The little brat sounds very pitiful. At this moment, someone came to urge the emperor to return to the imperial study to discuss military matters. And the emperor gave the Chushui residence to Consort Li before he prepared to leave in a hurry. But when her father reached the door, Juju suddenly remembered something. In this war, Western Chu will not only lose but also lose 30,000 soldiers. Her father will have to give up territory and pay money next. How pitiful. The emperor's heart shook violently. Defeated and losing 30,000 elite soldiers? Could this be a sign that the kingdom will fall? Your Majesty, why are you not leaving? They are still waiting over there for you. I am a little thirsty. Let me have a cup of tea before I leave. He sat down and stared at Juju, waiting for her to continue thinking about the war. But Juju was confused by his staring. Then she rubbed her eyes and prepared to go to sleep. What is this? Your own father faces the danger of losing his kingdom. Your dad is worried sick. How can you still sleep? The emperor hurriedly followed her to the bedside. He watched her drool and sleep. The emperor's heart was truly worried. In desperation, he grabbed Juju and shook her. Brat, wake up and continue thinking about what was just happening. Consort Li became anxious, and tears formed in her eyes. Your Majesty, what are you doing? Even if you dislike Juju, you cannot treat her this way. I do not dislike her. I just want to sleep with Juju. Yes, that is right. That is it. I have not spent time with the 18th prince since she was born. Now I want to sleep with her. You can all leave. After everyone left, he laid down beside Juju to help her sleep. Juju, what should we do if we are going to lose the battle? Juju sleepily responded. It was the Southern Kingdom spy who stole the military intelligence, which caused Western Chu's defeat. The emperor's heart was shaken. He then leaned closer to ask more questions. Juju found it noisy and turned over, muttering softly. Isn't it just Consort Wei? She pretended to be pregnant and kept going to the emperor's study, which led to the intelligence being stolen and Western Chu's defeat. The emperor wanted to keep asking, but was punched by Juju. If my father creates fake intelligence to be stolen, Western Chu could turn the situation around and defeat the Southern Kingdom. What a great idea. I almost went to kill Consort Wei without thinking. I did not expect this child to be so clever. Having received his answer, the emperor was in a great mood and kissed Juju's little face many times. Then he left, feeling content. Juju only felt that a big fly was buzzing around just now, which made it impossible for her to sleep soundly. The next morning, Swan came to escort them out of the cold palace. Consort Lee wanted to bring Granny Neen with them, remembering her many years of care. Such small things are for your ladyship to decide. This servant will tell the Internal Affairs Bureau later. Juju happily pulled both of them along. Starting today, it is a new start. And the servants who had usually ignored them could now only look at them with envy. A few days later, urgent military news came from the front lines. Western Chu had used fake intelligence to defeat the Southern Kingdom. The other side had already sent representatives to negotiate for peace, discussing paying money to Western Chu. The emperor was very happy and immediately wanted to go to the Chushui residence to reward Juju. But at this time, the imperial advisor suddenly asked to see him. He claimed his days were numbered, and he had some words for the emperor before he died. I have watched the stars at night and discovered Western Chu will face destruction in 10 years. The only way to solve it is through the 18th prince. Your Majesty, you must trust the young prince and protect him. Seeing the imperial advisor's sincere words, the emperor nodded. But there was still one more thing. I have so many sons but not one daughter. Is this my destiny? The imperial advisor only left the words, "Heaven's secrets cannot be revealed." Then he collapsed and died. Meanwhile, at the Chushui residence, Juju was happily swinging. Suddenly, she saw her father walking in, with a dark expression on his face. He did not know if the imperial advisor died from natural causes, or from revealing heaven's secrets. Juju was confused. Clearly, we won the battle. Why does my father's face look so sad? Suddenly, he remembered. This must be when the imperial advisor died. This child actually knows. The emperor grabbed her shoulders. The imperial advisor died suddenly. I do not know if it was a natural death or for another reason. What is wrong with my father today? Why is he speaking so strangely? Of course it was a natural death. Only then did her father sigh in relief, picking up Juju and kissing her face. Juju was completely shocked. I was kissed by an old man. I am not clean anymore. The emperor's mouth twitched. Being kissed once by me makes you feel this wronged? Then I will just kiss you to death. Saying this, he picked up Juju and showered her with many kisses. Consort Lee thought Juju looked adorable being kissed until she was confused. So she also held Juju and kissed her. For a long time. Just kiss if you want to. These two people's way of thinking is too strange. But having no parents in her previous life, she truly felt the beauty of having them now. Both her mother and father felt a pain in their hearts. Juju was an orphan in her previous life, so they secretly decided in their hearts that they must protect her well in this life. As soon as the emperor left, gold, silver, and jewels were sent to them. Juju picked up a small dress and looked at it for a while. Mother, can I wear a little girl's clothes now? Consort Lee said she could not. The treason charges are not cleared, and our family members are exiled in the cold lands. We are still in danger. Juju also nodded. She believed the truth would be revealed eventually. At this time, Granny Neon reported that noble consort Ching had come to visit. Do we need to prepare any snacks? Juju frowned when she heard this. Isn't noble consort Ching one of Funkai Wei's people? Every time a consort gains favor, she tries to move in and live with that consort. Then, the consorts who live with her all disappear without any trace. If she moves in to live with us, won't Mother and I be doomed? Consort Lee was shocked after she heard this. You really cannot judge a person by how they look. Meanwhile, Funkai Wei's eyes were filled with venom. Then, it is up to noble consort Ching next. Noble consort Ching looked venomous. Princess, rest assured, this visit will let me stay at the Chushui residence. Then I will find a chance to kill consort Lee and her son. Soon, noble consort Ching came knocking, acting insincerely. Good sister, it has been a long time. Consort Lee's tone was very flat. Sister, please sit down. Being rejected before even entering, noble consort Ching felt very unhappy. Shouldn't consort Lee be happy to see me? Why does she seem so cold? My, the 18th prince has grown so big. Come, let me hold you. Juju panicked inside. A person who harms others. Don't touch me. Mother, save me. Consort Lee grabbed her hand. The child is shy with strangers. It would be better not to. Noble consort Qing looked around. Chushui residence. Sister, your place is truly luxurious. Unlike my place, which is shabby and broken. Sister, you should find someone from the Internal Affairs Bureau to repair it. What is the use of telling me? Noble consort Qing acted innocent. Sister, I have no children. The people at the Internal Affairs Bureau make things hard for me. Why would they help me repair the house? But sister, your dress is made of fine brocade. If the Internal Affairs Bureau looked down on people, how could you afford such fine clothes? Noble consort Qing awkwardly smiled. Actually, I am afraid you are lonely in the Chushui residence, and I want to move in, so we can look after each other. Seeing her obvious intentions, Consort Li stopped pretending. Sister, you never felt sorry for me when I lived in the cold palace for years. But now that my life is good, you are worried. Noble consort Qing's smile immediately froze on her face. If you want to cut ties with me, just say it. Why talk around the subject? She turned to leave. If I suggest cutting ties, she will panic. Then I can stay at the Chushui residence. But Consort Li did not try to stop her, and instead had people escort her out. Then 2 maids came and escorted Noble consort Qing out directly. Juju felt so relieved watching this. Mother is mighty. Mother is awesome. Getting rid of Noble consort Qing solves another problem. But just as Noble consort Qing left, the 10th and 11th princes came again. The 2 waited at the door, but did not dare to enter. Juju wondered why her mother was so cold to them. In the original book, they had a very good relationship with her brother. After the 13th brother's incident, they had been trying to find ways to help him, even sacrificing their lives in the end. After hearing Juju's thoughts, Consort Li felt she had been too harsh with them before. I will invite them in right now. Shortly after, the 2 young men respectfully bowed. We came to congratulate you, Mother, on leaving the cold palace. As for our 13th brother, we will find a way to help. Juju looked at the 2 who were at a loss, and found it amusing in her heart. Since you are here, come in for tea before you leave. The 2 young men looked confused. They suspected they were hearing things, since every time they saw Consort Li before, she scolded them. Consort Li took the hands of the 2 young men. In the 3 years in the cold palace, I experienced human coldness. I know you have good intentions. Here, Juju also puffed out her chest proudly. Wow, both of my brothers are so handsome. Juju is praising us. No, wait. Juju did not speak, we just heard Juju's inner thoughts. This absolutely cannot be revealed. We are brothers, and we must protect Juju. Then the 2 competed to hold their little sister, regretting that they did not come to see her sooner. What are you all talking about so excitedly? Come and tell me. Her father, ignoring the 10th prince's upset gaze, took Juju directly from his arms. Juju is mine. What are you 2 brats fighting over? Watching Juju being taken away, the 10th prince felt so wronged. You 2 look terrible. Go find the imperial physician right away. Snatching Juju is one thing, but now you want to send us away. It is almost lunchtime and we have never had a meal with the emperor in our lives. Father Emperor, Juju likes her big brothers. Juju wants to eat with her big brothers. Then let's listen to Juju. I will stay for lunch with you all. Shortly after, at the dining table, the 2 young men were too afraid to pick up their chopsticks. Juju, afraid they would not eat enough, piled their bowls full of food. But as soon as she turned, she saw the emperor staring at Consort Li. Why is my father looking at mother like this? Look at his eyes. He looks just like a pervert. Everyone who heard her inner thoughts was stunned and nearly spit out the rice in their mouths. Juju put a piece of pork in her father's bowl. Father Emperor, eat more. When you are full, you will not be able to look at mother so lecherously. Just as the scene became peaceful, someone suddenly came to report. Princess Anyang has been kneeling outside for 3 hours, saying, if your majesty does not forgive her, she will keep kneeling. The emperor's face darkened when he heard this. Instead of learning rules from the Empress Dowager, what is she doing kneeling here? If she wants to kneel, let her. At this moment, outside the Chushui residence, Feng Kaiwei's biological parents had also arrived. Feng Kaiwei has been kneeling in the rain for so long. Does your majesty not feel sorry at all? How could our precious daughter suffer like this? Feng Kaiwei, get up quickly. Mom and Dad will take you home. You are the only girl in the royal family. I do not believe His Majesty would let you go. But Feng Kaiwei knelt on the ground without moving. If your majesty does not forgive me, I will never get up. Her eyes seemed to show a kind of determination. She had to get the emperor's forgiveness, or her favor and glory would be gone. Shortly after, Swan came to report again. Your Majesty, this is bad. Prince Dewan and his wife want to take the princess home. You worked so hard to keep her here before. The emperor sat with a dark face and said nothing, but Juju was muttering in her heart. It's clear that princess is deliberately asking for death. The emperor ordered her to go back, and Prince Dewan and his wife are clueless. Can a dignified emperor be threatened by them? The emperor looked at Juju with satisfaction. Brat, you are the one who understands me. Someone escort Prince Dewan's family out of the palace. In the future, they cannot enter the palace without an imperial order. Since they used leaving the palace as a threat, he might as well grant their wish. Soon, the imperial order was delivered. Prince Dewan's family was stunned when they heard it. How can this be? Doesn't His Majesty love our daughter the most? Why did he not try to keep her here? It is all your fault for wanting to leave the palace. If you had not angered the emperor, would I be driven out? Feng Kai was not willing. As long as she could stay, there would be chances. It seemed she needed to do something desperate. She looked at the water jar with lotus flowers nearby, gritted her teeth, and then crashed into it. Swan hurriedly returned to report. Princess Anyang crashed into the water jar and fainted. She needs to recover in the palace. After all, she is the only princess. Who cares about other people's daughters? I also have my own princess. Then he looked at Juju with a wicked expression. What does he want to do? Why is my father smiling so lecherously? The emperor pulled out a little dress. Juju, do you want to wear such a pretty little dress? Juju frantically said no. I do not want to. I do not want to. But the next second, the emperor whispered in her ear, if you wear it, I will reward you with 500 taels of gold. The watching crowd was stunned. The emperor's taste was too strange. He must be going crazy from wanting a daughter. The 18th prince was a boy. He must feel terribly wronged inside. He is probably crying so hard that nothing could help. But unexpectedly, Juju's eyes lit up. I can wear pretty dresses and get money too? Is there such a good thing? Juju is willing to wear it. Juju loves little dresses, so she shouted, 500 taels, while running into the dressing room. Shortly after getting dressed, Juju changed into the beautiful little dress. When her father saw her, his heart skipped a beat. Her black hair and skin as white as snow were simply adorable to the emperor's heart. He picked up Juju and showered her with kisses. My good Juju, please keep the women's clothes on forever, okay? I have prepared many little girls' clothes for you. Whatever you want, just ask. I will definitely get it for you. Juju has no conditions. I really like dressing like this. As someone with a female body, she finally felt happy. How wonderful it would be to always wear women's clothes. Her father excitedly picked up Juju and spun around. Having Juju is like having a daughter. But the two princes, not knowing Juju was female, only felt sorry for her. Juju, you have been wronged. Father's taste is too strange. But do not worry. Your brothers will help you restore your male identity. Juju was too happy to feel wronged, but then she recalled something important. 10th brother, 11th brother, can you come see me tomorrow morning? Whether you two can become friends with the crown prince depends on tomorrow. The two brothers looked at each other. They usually had a hard time even seeing the crown prince. Could Juju, being so young, really help? Early the next morning, the three of them sneaked to the elephant house. According to the original book's plot, the crown prince would come to see the elephants today, but would be accidentally hurt by a frenzied elephant, nearly losing his life. It was Feng Kai who used a trick to save his life, and the crown prince fell in love with her at first sight because of it. Thinking of this, she looked at her two brothers. I heard the elephants here are very fierce. If someone was hurt by an elephant, would you save them? Of course we would. Just as they spoke, the crown prince's carriage arrived at the elephant house. He came to inspect the elephants today, preparing for the military expedition in a few days. The earlier inspection went well, but when they got to the last elephant, the frenzied elephant smelled an unfamiliar person. The next second, it charged at the carriage. The violent crash threw the crown prince out of the carriage. He landed right at the elephant's feet. The elephant roared and lifted its foot to step on the crown prince. In the emergency, the two princes moved forward to help. The 10th prince used bananas to get the elephant's attention, while the 11th prince used the chance to rescue the crown prince. Although the elephant was distracted by the bananas, it still looked like it would attack people. To protect the crown prince, the 11th prince was hit by the elephant's trunk. The crown prince slowly opened his eyes and saw the 11th prince protecting him from above. Just as the elephant was about to attack again, the 10th prince quickly pulled out a fruit basket. "Look here, your favorite big fruit basket!" He then threw the fruit basket inside the iron cage. Taking advantage of the elephant diving into the iron cage, he locked it. The crown prince was finally saved, and Juju breathed a long sigh of relief. However, she was very curious. With such a strong elephant, how did Feng Kai-wei save the crown prince in the original story? She turned around and saw Feng Kai-wei hiding in the distance. The crown prince was in so much danger, yet she just watched from the side. Such a selfish person does not deserve the crown prince's love. Only Miss Yoon, who vowed never to marry for the crown prince's sake, even dressing as a man to fight on the battlefield, is his perfect match. After being captured and suffering humiliation, she never betrayed her country. Juju secretly decided that she must help the crown prince find his true love. Then she came to her brother's side, only to discover that the 11th prince was bleeding a lot. Before she could react, Juju, who was afraid of blood, fainted and collapsed. The next day in the Eastern Palace, the emperor had been watching by the crown prince's side. Fortunately, he was fine, just having hit his head and needing rest. However, when the crown prince woke up, the first thing he asked was how badly the 11th prince was hurt. "I was able to survive this time, thanks to the 11th brother's rescue." The emperor's heart trembled. "Wasn't it said that Princess Anyang saved you?" Everyone at the elephant house saw it. The servants all agreed. "The crown prince must have hit his head too hard. We servants saw clearly that it was Princess Anyang who saved you. Princess Anyang deserves merit for saving the crown prince. Please, your majesty, reward Princess Anyang." "Well, you are the ones with broken brains. Your whole family has broken brains." The emperor was even more furious when he heard this. "Someone drag them out and execute them." Before the truth was clear, someone was already thinking of rewards. At this moment, someone suddenly reported, "Your Majesty, something terrible has happened. There is trouble at the Chushui residence. The 18th princess has fainted." Meanwhile, at the Chushui residence, the imperial physician was treating the 11th prince. The next second, the emperor came running in a hurry. "Who is injured? Where is my Juju?" "Father Emperor, I am here." Juju thought her father had finally come for her. 10th brother lured the elephant away, and 11th brother saved the crown prince. Both were injured, but my father does not care at all. Only then did the emperor understand that the 11th prince was injured while saving the crown prince. "From now on, you should spend more time with the crown prince and help him with his troubles." Juju was secretly happy. "Great! Is he arranging work for the 11th brother?" 10th prince, you were fearless and clever in danger. You should also help the crown prince more in the future. Everything ended perfectly. Juju muttered quietly on the side. "Didn't my father forget there is still a liar who has not been dealt with?" Meanwhile, at the Eastern Palace, Feng Kai-wei was secretly happy. "My act of risking my life to save the crown prince will surely regain the emperor's favor. The crown prince and I were already engaged, and now that I have saved him, he must love me deeply." Just then, an imperial order arrived. Princess Anyang falsely claimed credit for someone else's rescue, guilty of deceiving the emperor. But considering she has been with me for many years, her princess title is taken away. The marriage order is withdrawn. Feng Kai-wei was expelled from the palace, never to enter the imperial palace again. To thank Juju and the two princes for saving his life, the crown prince came to the Chushui residence with many gifts. However, as soon as he reached the door, he heard a loud noise inside. "Juju, you are truly our little lucky star. Can you let your brothers give you a kiss? Being kissed every day is so tiring. My little face is going to swell from all the kisses lately." The brothers were chasing behind, while Juju ran ahead, suddenly bumping into someone in front of her. Looking up, it turned out to be the crown prince. The crown prince smiled at her. This made Juju swoon. "Wow, the crown prince is here. The crown prince is so handsome." The crown prince blushed when he heard this. Wait, what was that sound? Clearly, no one was speaking. "Crown prince, what is wrong? Why are you just standing there without saying anything?" Only then did he realize it was the 18th prince's inner voice. He tried to calm himself. What exists is reasonable, Stay calm. Come quickly, 18th prince. Let the crown prince hold you. But the crown prince's injury is not healed yet. And Juju is the 18th prince, but also the 18th princess. Before she could finish speaking, the crown prince quickly covered her small mouth. It is all the emperor's fault for making you dress as a boy. Now you cannot even tell if you are male or female. 18th prince, you must remember that you are a proper boy. You must not let the emperor lead you the wrong way. After comforting Juju, he thanked his two brothers again that day. Both of you risked your lives to protect me. I swear here that I will protect you with my life in the future. If I break this promise, may heaven strike me down. Juju silently praised him in her heart. The crown prince is truly a gentleman. It is a pity he was dragged down by Feng Kaiwei and died in the end. He never knew that Miss Yun died fighting for him. How wonderful it would have been if they could have been married. The crown prince was extremely shocked. Meanwhile, the two princes' eyes widened, clearly looking like they had just heard some gossip. That evening, back at the Chushui residence for dinner, the emperor suddenly mentioned something. The Empress Dowager and the noble consort have been praying at Hanshan Temple for many days. They will return to the palace tomorrow. Upon hearing this, Juju thought, that noble consort seems to be my father's favorite. She is the one who framed mother with the treason charges. The bad person will arrive tomorrow. I wonder how my father will handle it. The emperor felt a little guilty hearing her inner voice. Juju, why are you looking at me like that? Is the food not to your liking? Father, do you have any idea? With mother's and brother's charges not cleared, who can possibly eat? How about after dinner, I take you to the imperial garden to catch butterflies? Upon hearing this, Juju's eyes lit up. Great, great, let us go catch butterflies. The emperor looked at her with loving eyes and touched her head. She is still a child after all. A moment later, they arrived at the imperial garden. Juju and her father were happily catching butterflies. Then they suddenly heard palace maids quietly discussing. Have you heard? Tomorrow, the Empress Dowager and noble consort return. Of course. When the Empress Dowager returns, that traitor consort Li and the 18th prince will have to go back to the cold palace. And the noble consort has always been favored. Once she returns, His Majesty will surely forget about that mother and her son. Juju's face darkened upon hearing this. She turned to go back to the Chushui residence. I am tired. I want to go back. None of you should follow me. Watching Juju's sad figure leave, the emperor was furious inside. Someone dragged those two gossipers down, cut out their tongues to feed the dogs, then beat them to death with clubs. The next day, the Empress Dowager returned to the palace. Everyone came to the entrance to welcome her. But Juju felt worried. Mother, do you think the Empress Dowager might not like us? Consort Li's expression was gentle. The Empress Dowager is the kindest person. Back then it was the Empress Dowager who saw I was pregnant and secured my position, which saved my life. The emperor also quickly agreed. Juju is so adorable. Your imperial grandmother will definitely like you. Hearing both her father and mother say this, Juju's anxious heart finally calmed down. With a eunuch's call of welcome, the Empress Dowager has returned to the palace. The next second, the Empress Dowager was helped inside. But this imperial grandmother did not look kind. Instead, she had a cold face and looked quite unhappy. Could it be because of me? Juju panicked instantly. Her heart, which had just calmed down, became anxious again. The Empress Dowager looked around. It seems many things have happened in the palace while I was gone. No, my imperial grandmother is targeting me. She will not execute me, will she? Juju was scared to death. Her father heard her inner voice and quickly stepped forward. Mother, this is Juju, the one I mentioned to you in my letter. It was I who made her dress as a girl. If you are angry, blame me. Juju and Consort Li are innocent. On the other side, Juju was trembling. Imperial grandmother has such a powerful presence. So scary, I am afraid. You silly girl, what are you talking about? Do I look fierce and scary to you? Wait, something is not right. How can I hear this child's inner voice? The Empress Dowager forced a smile, trying to look kinder. Why didn't you tell me about having such a cute princess? I would have returned sooner. Juju, be good. Let your imperial grandmother hold you. Juju, trembling, extended her little hand. The Empress Dowager held Juju in her arms, looking at the adorable girl with big eyes and thick eyebrows. Her stern expression softened a lot, but suddenly she was shocked. As a former champion of palace schemes, the Empress Dowager had developed sharp eyes. They are all blind. This is not a prince at all. This is clearly a lovely little princess. The Empress Dowager was very happy and immediately took off her gold bracelet to give to her. Juju is so good. This is your imperial grandmother's gift. Juju's eyes lit up. Imperial grandmother is so nice. I like imperial grandmother the most. The emperor's jealousy was overflowing when he heard this. You little money lover. A pair of bracelets bought your affection. Juju was in a great mood. She poked her head out and was about to call the emperor to keep up. Then she saw the noble consort had already taken her father's arm. Your Majesty, while you were gone, I thought of you day and night. If it were before, the emperor would have been enchanted. But unexpectedly, the emperor's attitude was suddenly very cold. The banquet is ready. You may also attend. After saying this, he got up to follow Juju. Mother, are you tired? Let me hold Juju. The banquet began very quickly. At the feast, the Empress Dowager kept holding Juju and feeding her various delicious foods. The emperor wanted to hold Juju but was too embarrassed to say it. Mother, are you not tired from holding Juju all this time? The Empress Dowager glared at him. This is the 10th time you have asked me this. I have said I am not tired. Are you not annoying? The emperor felt wronged. At this moment, the noble consort came over with wine. I missed your Majesty day and night. Would you rest at my place tonight? Bad woman who harms people. So disgusting. My father will not go to her place. Father, when will you clear mother's name? It was clearly that noble consort who framed her. Treason is a very serious crime. The emperor heard her inner voice and felt embarrassed and guilty. After thinking for a moment, he still took the noble consort's wine and drank all of it. The noble consort was secretly pleased. I have prepared sobering soup at my home. I will wait for your Majesty tonight. That night, back in her room, the noble consort dressed herself up seductively, but waited a long time without seeing the emperor. At this moment, a servant hurried to report, Your Highness, something is wrong. His Majesty has taken many rewards and is now going to the Chushui residence. The noble consort exploded with anger. She could not believe the emperor would leave her to find that bitch Consort Li. How long have I been gone? And that Consort Li has already made a comeback, secretly doing so much. The servants knelt, trembling. That Consort Li somehow seduced His Majesty. Recently, he has been favoring only her. Even the 18th prince has been spoiled. With a crash, the teacup shattered on the floor. Anger made the noble consort's face twist. Who is that bitch Consort Li? Last time I framed her for treason and she did not die. This time, let's see how I will kill her. But she never expected that the emperor was standing right outside the door. Just a small trick. And the noble consort revealed her true self. This poisonous woman actually worked with the court to disturb the harem. The emperor waved his hand, ordering Swan behind him to push open the door. A nearby maid saw the emperor enter with people and quickly signaled the noble consort with her eyes. But the noble consort did not understand and slapped her. You dead girl, what are you winking at? I am not the emperor. You cannot seduce me. The maid was so anxious her face turned green. She stammered, Your Majesty. The emperor said nothing, his face dark. His powerful presence made everyone unable to breathe. The noble consort felt a chill behind her. She turned around and fell to her knees with a thud. This subject greets your Majesty. When did you arrive? The emperor glared at her with anger. Then he kicked her very hard. I never hit women. You are the first. You disgust me. Only then did the noble consort realize that the emperor must have heard what she said. Those words were not true. I was just talking nonsense. I said those things because I love your Majesty too much. Hearing that you went to Consort Li's palace, I could not accept it. The emperor threw her hand away. Someone announced to the 6 palaces, the noble consort has slandered palace consorts. Her title is revoked, and she is confined to the cold palace. He paused, then continued, announcing, Consort Li's treason charges were fabricated. Consort Li is pardoned. Her family is recalled from the frontier. As for the 13th prince, the emperor frowned slightly. The 13th prince was not imprisoned because of Consort Li. I need to find the right time to release him. Meanwhile, at the Chushui residence, Juju still did not know what happened. She was bothering her mother to tell her stories. Then a long stream of rewards was delivered. Consort Li looked confused. What has gotten into His Majesty this time? Juju looked at the chests full of gold, silver, and jewels with shining eyes. After all the rewards were moved into the room, the emperor slowly walked in. "Consort Li, I have wronged you all these years. I have investigated everything. It was the noble consort who framed you. I should not have quickly sent you to the cold palace back then. But after all these years, Consort Li had already let go of her anger. Let the past be the past. Don't you resent me? This subject would not dare." "So you do blame me?" The emperor sighed deeply. This made Juju roll her eyes. When a man, especially a ruler, asks a woman if she blames him, he has feelings for her. "My father wouldn't have fallen for my mother, would he?" The emperor, whose thoughts were exposed, felt embarrassed. But her mother looked at Juju lovingly. This silly child. What does she understand? Emperors do not have love in their hearts. She turned to the emperor. "It is late. Your Majesty should return to rest." The emperor stammered, clearly wanting to stay at the Chushui residence. But he was politely refused by Consort Li the next second. The emperor looked dejected. "Then forget it. I will wait until you are willing. Then I will go back first. How about Juju comes with me?" Saying this, he picked up Juju and left the Chushui residence with his arrogant walk. Juju could not help but want to scold her dad. "My father is so mean. When he cannot get my mother, he takes me as a hostage. Poor Juju. So young, yet carrying so much for this family." The next day, when Juju just woke up, the emperor wanted to take her to morning court. Juju thought her ears were broken for a moment, but before she could even react, she was dragged away by the excited emperor. At morning court, facing the officials, he wanted to announce to everyone that he finally had a daughter. "My little princess is the cutest and most adorable in the world, although my daughter is disguised as a boy." As expected, the ministers gave endless flattery. "The 18th princess is truly of noble blood, quite majestic like your majesty." Just then, the sound of heavy chains came. A prisoner was brought to the court. It was the former general, Zai. The emperor questioned him with a dark face. "You suffered many defeats in the war against the southern kingdom. Your incompetence caused many military deaths. General Zhao, what is your crime?" Upon hearing this, Juju frowned. This General Zhao is actually very capable. The reason for his defeats was due to spies, and because he was poisoned by traitors, which led to the defeats. Actually, he is loyal to Western Chu. His 3 sons and 1 daughter all died in battle. Even his wife was captured by the Southern Kingdom. To prevent her from being humiliated, he personally shot her with an arrow. But he never used this to claim credit, and never even mentioned it to your majesty. The emperor was greatly shocked hearing Juju's inner voice. General Zhao sacrificed so much for Western Chu, yet I knew nothing about it. If not for Juju's reminder, I probably would never have known in my entire lifetime. Seeing the emperor's increasingly dark expression, court officials came forward one after another. They condemned General Zhao for his defeats, suspecting him of treason and saying he should be executed immediately. Juju frowned upon hearing this. These court officials do not think about sharing Western Chu's burdens. They just know how to deceive my father into killing people all day. You should know that if General Zhao dies, the military officers will lose heart. Western Chu will have no one to use. The kingdom's destruction is certain. Juju hopes her father can see clearly. General Zhao has sacrificed so much for Western Chu, he absolutely cannot be killed. The emperor heard Juju's inner voice and made his decision. Juju, sit properly. I will handle the court affairs well. He ordered the Minister of Justice to investigate the reasons for General Zh's defeats, including his family. And he sent the chief of the Imperial Medical Academy to treat General Zhao. Juju heard this with a disgusted look. The chief of the Imperial Medical Academy is a fool who only knows about women's health, not ancient arts. The emperor coughed awkwardly. The chief needs to care for the consorts, then send the deputy chief. Juju instantly felt much better about her father. The emperor is truly wise and mighty, completely in sync with my thoughts. This is different from that blind emperor in the book. My father performed well today, so I will reward you with a loving kiss. After investigating the truth, the emperor returned to the imperial study in a good mood. Today, I saved a deserving minister. I am very pleased. Juju, who was on the side, was also feeling very joyful. She took advantage of the emperor's favor and climbed directly onto his head. Then she playfully tied a butterfly bow on his hair, causing the emperor's expression to darken immediately. Swan, who was standing nearby, broke out in a cold sweat. 18th Princess, you must not do that. It undermines His Majesty's dignity. However, the Emperor did not care in the slightest. As long as Juju is happy, she can do anything she wants to me. After playing for a while, Juju suddenly felt confused. General Xiaoye endured so much fighting on the frontier, so why did nobody seem to know about it? A major event like this occurred. Even if General Xiaoye said nothing, her father should have known something, yet her father was completely unaware of the situation. Could someone have intentionally blocked this information, aiming to use her father's authority to secretly eliminate the general without anyone finding out about it? The Emperor suddenly understood after hearing her inner voice. What Juju is thinking makes sense, he thought. How did I not consider this possibility before now? Juju, return to your mother consortly for now. I must first investigate General Xiaoye's situation thoroughly. I will come to see you after the investigation is complete. Juju looked at the Emperor with admiration. Father Emperor is so powerful and commanding, she thought. I like Father Emperor more than anyone else. A short time later, the Emperor arrived at General Xiaoye's residence. I have come to understand the situation from the Ministry of Justice, General Xiaoye. If you have something to say, please speak directly and without hesitation. General Xiaoye appeared troubled. If I speak, Your Majesty may not believe what I have to say. It might be better if I do not say anything. You should just say it. Whether I choose to believe it or not is my decision to make. General Xiaoye was silent for a moment before he spoke a name. It is Yan Bengtson. All the military reports I tried to submit were blocked by him. Last year, while fighting the Southern Kingdom, our grain suppliers faced issues because of him. I suspect he is a spy. Another spy, the Emperor thought, feeling greatly shocked by this revelation. General Xiaoye, thinking the Emperor did not believe him, immediately knelt. If Your Majesty does not believe me, then please pretend I said nothing. However, I will find the evidence to prove it. The Emperor told him to stand up, assuring him that he would investigate the truth of the matter himself. After saying this, he departed from the general's residence. As soon as he returned to the palace, he took action. He dispatched the blood droplets to conduct an investigation, and they lived up to their reputation for efficiency. They indeed found a large number of secret letters at Yan Bengtson's house, many of which contained state secrets of Western Chu. The Emperor's hands trembled as he read them. What a traitor this Yan Bengtson is, appearing loyal on the surface while secretly selling out my Western Chu. The silver mines, our loss to the Southern Kingdom, the death of General Wen, the loss of 3,000 war horses, and this year's crop burning it, was all his doing. It is sheer treachery. A treacherous consort appeared in my harem, and a traitor appeared in the court. It is no wonder that Western Chu is in decline. Surviving for 10 years is a mercy from heaven. Notify the Imperial Guards. Yan Bengtson is guilty of treason. I order the execution of his entire extended family. Hang his corpse alongside that of Consort Wei at the city gates as a warning to all the people. Thinking about it now, Juju is truly Western Chu's lucky star. Without her, I would not have discovered these things until after the kingdom had already fallen. The Emperor was about to visit Juju when he learned she was with the Crown Prince. The envoys from the Southern Kingdom were arriving soon for peace talks to discuss reparations. The Crown Prince was responsible for receiving the envoys. The princess, who loves to be involved in everything, had been following the Crown Prince around for the past few days. Meanwhile, in the Eastern Palace, Juju was focused on carefully studying a book about negotiation strategies. However, her vision soon blurred and she felt dizzy. These dense words are making me sleepy just by looking at them, she thought. The Crown Prince watched her with doting eyes. Zhao Heir, come and light some refreshing incense for the princess. The moment she heard that name, the drowsy Juju was instantly awake. Zhao Heir, that troublemaker! She is actually here with my brother, the Crown Prince! The Crown Prince felt puzzled. What is wrong with Zhao Heir? He wondered to himself. Why is Juju suddenly so worked up? Zhao Heir is no ordinary servant girl, Juju thought. She is actually a spy from the Southern Kingdom. She always carries poison with her, and plans to harm both Western Chu and my brother, the Crown Prince. In the original story, after Western Chu's defeat, Zhao Heir colluded with the Southern Kingdom envoys, poisoning them to fake their deaths and extort 5 more cities from Western Chu. This time, even though Western Chu was victorious, Zhao Er will likely still use poison to make it seem as though Western Shu has harmed the envoys. We will be despised by all other nations, and the land cessions and reparations will amount to nothing. Thinking this, Juju could not help but frown. Our Western Shu finally won this just war. We absolutely must make them cede their land and pay reparations. Otherwise, all of those soldiers will have died for nothing. The Crown Prince was deeply shocked upon hearing her inner voice. Not killing envoys during wartime is a 1,000-year-old rule, he thought with alarm. If the envoys were to die here, this righteous war for Western Shu would be for nothing, and my title as Crown Prince could even be taken away. Furthermore, Zhao Er is highly skilled at making incense. If she were to use incense for poisoning, it would be nearly impossible to prevent or guard against. Even if we were to kill Zhao Er right now, countless others like her would appear later. The Crown Prince grew more frightened as he thought, then suddenly had an idea. What if I drink the poisoned wine meant for the envoys? This way, I would be the one who is poisoned instead of them. Then the envoys' conspiracy would fail, and they would still be required to cede land and pay their reparations to Western Shu as agreed. But wait, he thought again. If I am poisoned and there is no antidote available, would I not be finished? I am still young, and I have not even married yet. I have not even had the chance to meet that Miss Yin that Juju has mentioned before. He could not think of a good solution, but Juju did. Juju was secretly thinking, what if my brother, the Crown Prince, could search the envoys' belongings for the antidote? When they are poisoned, he could reveal it and expose their conspiracy. Then Western Shu could turn the situation from a defensive one to an offensive one, and perhaps even make them compensate us with a few more cities. The Crown Prince immediately understood. Such a simple solution! How could I not have thought of that myself? I was only thinking about being poisoned. Juju is truly the smartest, he thought, and then he leaned over and kissed Juju's little face. Juju was stunned by the kiss. What is wrong with my brother, the Crown Prince? Being kissed every single day is actually getting very annoying. Juju was worried that the Crown Prince would not be able to solve the poisoning issue, so she began to think of an alternative solution. She decided to use her knowledge of traditional medicine, which she had learned from the orphanage director in her past life, to create a universal antidote. That way, even if her brother could not find the real antidote, she would have one ready to use. When the emperor arrived to see Juju, he discovered her busy working with a large assortment of precious herbs. Who is sick? Why not send for the imperial physician? He asked. Consort Li explained that no one was sick, and that Juju simply had a sudden desire to play with the medicines. The emperor then immediately ordered the Imperial Medical Academy to send over all of their medicines. The princess must be able to play happily and to her heart's content, he declared. Then he walked over to Juju's side and asked, Juju, is there anything that your father emperor can help you with? Juju immediately handed him the mortar. This is too heavy for me, Father Emperor. You must work very hard on this. The emperor rolled up his sleeves, ready to work. A servant quickly tried to stop him, saying, Your Majesty, you have a precious body. Please allow this old servant to do it. But the emperor was already lost in Juju's encouragement. The pestle in his hands was moving so fast in the mortar that it seemed to create sparks. With the combined effort of the father and daughter, the universal antidote was prepared quickly. Juju jumped up with joy. This princess is going to defeat all of the evil people in the world. Kill, 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 she thought excitedly. The emperor came forward and gently picked Juju up in his arms. All right, my dear princess, it is now time to eat. Standing before a table filled with a delicious lunch, the emperor slowly extended his hand and said, Princess, please take your seat. Juju felt a sudden warmth in her heart. She felt as though she had heard those words in her past life, but no one had ever said them in this life. Finally, someone loved her and treated her so preciously. So she moved closer to the emperor and gave him a kiss on his face. This made her father extremely happy. Juju kissed me on her own, he thought with delight, and then began offering her all kinds of formal courtesies. Princess, please take your chopsticks. Princess, please hold your bowl. Princess, please open your mouth for Father Emperor to feed you. Juju soon lost herself in all the repeated, Princess, please, phrases. And Consort Li's gaze toward the emperor also began to change. Feelings that had been buried for a long time started to quietly sprout once more. 3 days later, during the morning court session, the envoys from the Southern Kingdom arrived as it was scheduled. The emperor, seated in the court hall, looked stern and spoke calmly as he offered seats to the Southern Kingdom's envoys. "Respected Emperor of Western Chu, Your Majesty, we have come to the capital today for peace talks with you. To show you our sincerity, allow us to first offer a toast to Your Majesty." The Emperor smiled and picked up his teacup. "I have a precious daughter now, and she does not like the smell of alcohol, so I will be using tea instead of wine." Juju felt completely speechless. "You're just using this as an excuse to show off your daughter, aren't you?" she thought. However, just as the leading envoy finished his cup of wine, he suddenly spat out black blood the very next second. Shortly after, he collapsed to the ground unconscious. As expected, the other envoys at once started to cause a commotion, insisting that it was Western Chu that had poisoned them. Not to kill envoys during war is the rule. You of Western Chu are truly going too far. The Supreme Alliance must be called to judge this issue. Our ambassador cannot die for nothing. The Emperor also began to panic. How did this envoy just die so suddenly? He looked over at the Crown Prince, who remained calm and seemed completely unworried. "It looks like my brother the Crown Prince has already found the evidence to prove that the envoys planned this and deliberately poisoned themselves," Juju thought. A nearby royal family member felt as if their ears were broken. "How is it that I can hear the inner voice of the princess? This must truly be an auspicious sign." The Crown Prince took a small porcelain bottle from his robes. "Father Emperor, do not panic. Your son will handle this matter well." Thanks to Juju's warning, he had already conducted a search of the envoy's lodgings and successfully found the antidote. Our Western Chu wins and loses with honor. We would never resort to something as despicable as poisoning. If you envoys wish to invite the Supreme Alliance to judge, then please proceed. Soon, the people from the Supreme Alliance arrived at the court hall. They were all influential figures from many different countries, and were therefore highly respected by everyone. After they had heard the accusations made by the envoys, the members of the Supreme Alliance also frowned. "Emperor of Western Chu, Your Majesty, the envoy from the Southern Kingdom was poisoned at your banquet. The person responsible must be from your own Western Chu royal family. What is your explanation for this?" The envoys, feeling more confident with the support of the Supreme Alliance, became even more arrogant. "Western Chu has openly poisoned our ambassador. They must pay the price for this." The Crown Prince gave a cold laugh. "A price? And what price is it that you want? You can forget about the land cessions and the reparations. The Emperor of Western Chu must also issue a public apology to our Southern Kingdom." The Emperor laughed bitterly at this. "I see now that your Southern Kingdom has poisoned yourselves in order to frame our Western Chu. Your purpose is to avoid the land cessions and the reparations after losing the war." Juju also chimed in her thoughts. "Exactly. They are just a bunch of shameless big liars." The envoys from the Southern Kingdom immediately began to panic. "Could it be possible that Western Chu knows about our self-poisoning plot? Do you have any evidence?" they demanded. "Of course we do." The Crown Prince then took out a red porcelain bottle that had the Southern Kingdom's very distinctive red bean pattern, which was clearly a Southern Kingdom product. "This is the antidote that I found inside the Southern Kingdom envoy's residence. How do you propose to explain this?" But the envoys from the Southern Kingdom refused to admit anything, insisting that this was a frame-up by Western Chu. "How can the Crown Prince prove this is ours? Do not think you can frame us just by putting it inside a Southern Kingdom bottle." However, the Crown Prince was very well prepared. He handed the bottle containing the antidote to the imperial physician. He asked the physician to examine what kind of poison this was, based on the symptoms of the poisoned envoy. The imperial physician held the bottle near his nose and took a gentle sniff, and he at once recognized it as red pomelo poison. This was a unique poison that was exclusive to the royal family of the Southern Kingdom. The poison was limited by specific temperature conditions, so no other region besides the Southern Kingdom could create it. The Crown Prince had someone deliver the antidote to the official. Whether this medicine was truly an antidote or not, the official would find out with just a single test. The members of the Supreme Alliance administered the antidote to the poisoned envoy. In the very next second, the envoy slowly began to open his eyes. This was, indeed, the antidote. The official's expression immediately changed. "Southern Kingdom envoys, you poisoned yourselves just to frame Western Chu. What excuse could you possibly have now?" The envoys were left completely speechless and knelt down one by one, begging the Emperor of Western Chu for his forgiveness. The emperor sneered coldly. So now you finally know to beg for mercy. Weren't you all acting quite arrogant just a few moments ago? With the truth now fully revealed, the Southern Kingdom had shamelessly framed Western Chu. The original demand for concessions and reparations would now be doubled to demonstrate justice. The matter was resolved in a satisfactory way. Juju could not help but give a thumbs up to her brother, the Crown Prince. After the official banquet ended, the members of the royal clan gathered to offer their congratulations. Your Majesty is truly wise and brilliant. Our Western Chu will surely prosper. The emperor felt a sense of pride in his heart and ordered that rewards be given to the Crown Prince and the 2 other princes. However, the Crown Prince knew in his heart that Juju was the real hero of the day. She had not only saved Western Chu, but had also helped him avoid the crisis of being removed as Crown Prince. Juju was truly the little lucky star of Western Chu. Poor Juju was being passed around from one person to another. At this rate, she thought, her legs would never need to grow any longer. Upon seeing Juju in the arms of the Crown Prince, the emperor's face, which had been full of smiles, suddenly darkened. Give her back to me this instant. You need to go and investigate who the poisoner was. Before the Crown Prince could react, he continued. The emperor pointed to Juju again. Give me back my Juju. You have been holding her for quite a long while now. The Crown Prince reluctantly returned Juju to the emperor's arms. After getting Juju back in his arms, the emperor looked smug and waved a hand at the Crown Prince. The Southern Kingdom has been infiltrating Western Chu for a long time. There is no hard evidence that Zhao Er is a spy. You should go investigate this quickly. He thought that after sending the Crown Prince away, there would be no one left to compete with him for Juju's attention. But unexpectedly, the royal relatives were all restless, and each of them expressed a desire to take Juju to their own homes to raise her for a while. On the surface, they praised Juju for being as lovely as ice and snow, but in reality, they all recognized her special ability and wanted to take her home to use her inner voice for their own personal benefit. In her heart, Juju was completely unwilling. So many people want to borrow Juju to take me home to appreciate. Am I some kind of monkey? Juju will not go. Juju cannot be without my mother consort and my father, she thought firmly to herself. Seeing the little girl's angry expression, the royal relatives found her to be even more precious. The little princess looked so cute even when she was angry. They all wanted to kiss, hug, and lift her up high. The emperor heard her thoughts in her voice, so he clearly refused everyone's request. Juju is still far too young and is not suitable for going out. But Prince Ning insisted. The princess is no longer that young. She is already 2.5 years old and can eat, drink, and demolish a house, so there would certainly be no problem at all. No, the princess is still nursing, the emperor said. He was pushed to desperation and began making up excuses in his urgency. But Prince Ning persisted. Then we can simply bring the wet nurse along. My grand princely mansion can most certainly afford to support a wet nurse. Furthermore, you previously raised Prince Dewan's daughter in the palace. Now, we brothers also wish to have that experience. Why will you not allow it, imperial brother? This is truly a double standard. Before Prince Ning could even finish his sentence, the emperor's face suddenly darkened. Prince Ning, you have gone too far. Juju belongs to me, and I will not lend her to anyone. Looking at the emperor's incredibly gloomy and dark face, he felt fear. Prince Ning was so frightened that he immediately knelt down with a loud thud. This subject truly adores the little princess, which is why I spoke so freely. Please, forgive me, your majesty. Only then did the emperor's stern expression soften just a little. How dare you compete with me for Juju? I will scare you to death. Seeing the tense atmosphere, the Empress Dowager quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. The little princess is the emperor's most precious and beloved darling. Normally, even if I hold her for a little too long, he becomes anxious. His Majesty and I understand everyone's intentions. Let us all wait until the princess is older before she leaves the palace. As soon as the Empress Dowager had finished speaking, Prince Su, who had been completely silent the entire time, suddenly spoke up. It is fine if Juju cannot come to my mansion to play. But, Your Majesty, could you perhaps bestow upon this old minister the Eastern Pearl that you recently obtained? The Empress Dowager's face darkened when she heard this. The Eastern Pearl was meant to be put in her phoenix crown. Even the Empress herself was not qualified to use it, yet Prince Su dared to ask for it. This Prince Su was the previous emperor's blood brother, and because he had once saved the previous emperor's life, he was often arrogant and domineering. The emperor would usually turn a blind eye to his behavior. But now, disrespecting the Empress Dowager was truly unbearable. Furthermore, his own consort had died long ago. Who would he give the Eastern Pearl to? Other people did not know, but Juju knew the real story. He wants the Eastern Pearl for the new concubine he has just taken, she thought. That concubine relies on her youth and beauty, and is extremely troublesome, wanting him to pluck the stars from the sky for her. She is not afraid of breaking the old man's back. Hearing Juju's inner voice, the emperor almost spit out the tea he was drinking. Everyone else was also quite shocked. Prince Su was already 80 years old, right? Could his body really handle marrying a 14-year-old concubine? The emperor coughed awkwardly a couple of times, but he really could not refute what she had said. Prince Su also heard Juju's inner voice, but he just thought that his old age was finally making his ears deceive him. This old minister has only this single wish. I ask you to please fulfill this wish for the sake of my 80 years. This shameless old man, Juju thought. Father must not agree, or others will laugh and say that the imperial grandmother is not as important as a young concubine, and the imperial grandmother will become so angry that she will have a stroke and be paralyzed. Ultimately, her life or death will be uncertain. Everyone was startled when they heard this, and they all came forward to advise the emperor that he should think 3 times before acting. But Prince Su did not care at all. He only thought that Juju, being a little brat, was just talking complete nonsense. If your majesty does not give this old minister the Eastern Pearl today, then I will bash my head against this pillar until I die. The emperor rubbed his forehead awkwardly. Prince Su, please calm down. After all, he had saved the previous emperor's life, and an edict was left to protect him. What should I do about this? Thinking this, he looked helplessly toward Juju for guidance. At that moment, Juju was frowning, with her little face all puffed up and looking very angry. Now, he knew he could only rely on Juju to help him. Juju, are you feeling sleepy? He asked out loud. Juju is not sleepy, she thought. If you are not sleepy, then speak up quickly, he thought, listening carefully. Is Juju hungry? Here is a piece of little dog poop cake for you. Juju took a bite from the cake and started thinking again. Prince Su, this old pervert, is truly blinded by his lust. That concubine is a harmful spirit, who will cause the deaths of all 7 of his sons in the future. Prince Su still did not take her thoughts seriously. Hearing this, he thought, the little brat is just talking nonsense again, getting more and more ridiculous. I will not believe it. Since his future death looked so pitiful, Juju decided to help him. Grandfather Prince Su, you want the Eastern Pearl, correct? My father Emperor can give it to you, but the Eastern Pearl will require some time before we can send it. I wonder if you can wait. The prince was delighted. I can wait however long it takes. But your majesty, is what the princess said true? Only then did the emperor react. She is worthy of being my Juju, knowing to make an issue out of the timing. Of course what she said is true. It is a mere Eastern Pearl, so I can give it to you. However, this type of pearl is only produced twice every 40 years. By my calculation, there are still 20 years before the next batch of Eastern Pearls will arrive. I will send them to you immediately when they are ready. Prince Su almost spit out blood from frustration, but could only grit his teeth and agree to the terms. Before he left, Juju thought to herself, Old man, you must be careful of that concubine. She is not easy to deal with. In the next few days, she will harm one of your sons to death. But Prince Su refused to believe it, not listening to a word. Sure enough, just a few days later, Prince Su was found crying bitterly as he was holding a coffin. The completely unexpected death of his eldest son had left him overcome with grief and unable to control his emotions. However, inside her room, his concubine showed a very pleased expression on her face. Do not blame me for being so ruthless. If the eldest heir had not caught me with Prince Su, you might have lived a few more days. The prince's heir must be born from my own belly. In the middle of his grief, Prince Su suddenly recalled Juju's inner voice from that day in the court. Old man, be careful of that concubine. In the next few days, she will harm one of your sons to death. The prince was instantly awakened to the truth. The 18th princess had not lied to him at all. Now he needed to go find the 18th princess. Meanwhile, on the other side of the palace, Juju was busy feeding the fish. Prince Su watched her from a distance, but felt too embarrassed to approach her directly. Previously, the 18th princess had warned me, but I refused to listen to her. As a result, my eldest son has drowned. Now here I am, coming to find her again. While he was lost in his thoughts, Juju turned around and spotted him. Grandfather Prince Su, what are you doing here? Prince Su was so startled that he immediately turned and ran away, leaving a speechless Juju behind him. This old man runs so fast. Juju is not going to eat him. The prince did not stop running until he had finally reached the palace gate. My attitude towards Juju before was so poor. Going to ask for her help now would be like slapping my own face. Forget it, just forget it. Juju's inner voice might not even be accurate anyway. The rest of my sons should not have any more accidents from now on. Elsewhere, Juju started to doubt herself. Could it be that I look too fierce? Consort Lee heard this and quickly comforted her. Juju is so cute, as if carved from pink jade. Where could you possibly look fierce? Then why did Grandfather Prince Su run away as soon as he saw me? Consort Lee was thinking about how to answer her question. Just then, the Emperor suddenly came and picked her up from behind. That is because Prince Su had some urgent family matters to attend to, and was in a hurry to leave the palace to handle them. Seeing that Consort Lee was dressed so lightly, the Emperor frowned with concern. The weather is very cold. What if you end up catching a chill? Juju nestled herself into her father's arms. He is worthy of being an emperor with so much yang energy. I feel much warmer now, she thought. Suddenly, she began sniffing the air like a little dog. My father smells so good today. What brand of body wash are you using? The Emperor looked toward Swan, who was behind him. Go and get my agarwood incense for the princess to use. Swan looked completely bewildered. He knew that the agarwood incense was exclusively for the Emperor's use, for the princess to enjoy such imperial treatment despite her position. The 18th princess was truly the first. What are you standing there grinning about? Go and get it for her quickly. After he finished speaking, he turned to face Juju once again. Tell your father Emperor what else you desire. Your father Emperor will give you anything and everything. Juju thought about it for a moment and then shook her head. Nothing for now. I will tell Father Emperor when I think of something later. She thought, I will eventually make my father spend big money. Today was another day for scheming. Deep, domineering, and cold, Juju put on her sunglasses, loving no one. Meanwhile, on the other side of the palace, Consort Jiang had just been released from her confinement, and was already plotting to eliminate Juju. Why should that little brat, who is neither male nor female, be so favored? Noble Consort Qing, who was with her, also could not understand it. Could it be because she is good-looking? That is probably not it. How could the dignified ruler of a nation be so shallow? Noble Consort Qing's daughter, Princess Anne, just turned 3 this year, and is said to be far more beautiful than Juju. If we were to summon her to the palace, she would definitely be able to win His Majesty's favor. At that moment, Consort Jiang's eyes seemed to be filled with poison. When Consort Lee is sent back to the cold palace, I will trample that bitch right under my feet. On this day, Juju was holding a book and waiting in her residence for her father to arrive and tell her stories. Didn't Father Emperor say that he would come after he finished his work? Why isn't he here yet? Mother, do you think that my father will not come today? Consort Lee smiled and comforted her daughter. He will come. Your father, the Emperor, is not a man who breaks his word. He must have just been delayed by something important. Hearing her mother say this, Juju's anticipation grew. Since my father is late this time, I should punish him by making him tell me 2 stories instead of 1. Sure enough, just a short time later, a palace maid came to report that His Majesty was requesting the 18th princess to meet him in the imperial garden. Juju was overjoyed by the news. My father is being so mysterious. Could it be that he has prepared some kind of surprise for me? So she took her mother Consort Lee's hand and ran with pattering steps toward the imperial garden. As soon as she arrived at the imperial garden, she saw her father, but standing opposite him was another little girl. The 2 of them were discussing something Juju did not know, but her father's expression was very unpleasant to see. Just as Juju was about to bring her mother over to them, she was stopped. She was suddenly blocked by the appearance of Consort Jiang. Consort Lee, Juju, you probably do not know why this consort is looking for you. Only then did Consort Li understand that it was Consort Waya who had tricked them into coming here. Consort Jiang's lips curved into a cold smile. Do not think that only Juju is able to please His Majesty. She just relies on her pretty face. Speaking of beauty, Princess Anne is much more beautiful than Juju. When she gains his favor, will you still be able to maintain your current position? She then leaned close to Consort Li's ear and mocked. And your child, who is neither male nor female, will His Majesty still like her then? These words struck Consort Li's heart very hard. Emperors had always been fond of the new and grown tired of the old. If Juju were to fall from favor, she and Juju would likely have to return to the cold palace. She did not mind for her own sake, but Juju was still so young, and she did not want Juju to suffer in the cold palace with her. How dare you threaten my mother like that? Juju instantly frowned. Mother, please do not worry. Juju will not fall from favor. This was because she remembered that the original book had mentioned that Princess Anne was actually noble consort Qing's daughter. Before the emperor had ascended to the throne, noble consort Qing had schemed against him multiple times. It was lucky her father had not killed her. How dare she let her daughter show off in front of him? This consort Jiang is far too bold, daring to bring just anyone she wants into the palace, she thought. The two princes, who had been worried for Juju, now felt confident after hearing her inner voice. Consort Jiang, are you not fully awake? How can you speak such complete nonsense? Consort Jiang was so angry she nearly jumped. How dare you speak to this consort in that manner? You will be completely finished when Princess Anne gains the emperor's favor. But before she could finish speaking, she heard the emperor's roar from behind her. Get out of this palace! I do not want to see you ever again! Princess Anne still did not know any better. That ugly Juju is not as pretty as me at all. Uncle Emperor, you should favor me more and stop caring about that ugly thing. The emperor's face turned as black as a wok from his anger. Come here. Princess Anne has despised the princess. Slap her 50 times as punishment. He then ordered someone to investigate, who was blind enough to have brought Princess Anne into the palace in the first place. Swan quickly found out the truth. Reporting to Your Majesty, it was Consort Jiang who summoned her to the palace for a family reunion. The reunion ended up right in front of him. How could the emperor not know what she was plotting? Pass my decree. From this day forward, strip Consort Jiang of her title and confine her to the cold palace for the rest of her life. Consort Jiang had wanted to watch Consort Li's humiliation, but in the end, she ended up becoming the laughingstock herself. After dealing with Consort Jiang, her father finally noticed Juju nearby. Juju, what brings you here to the Imperial Garden? Are you looking for your father, Emperor? Father Emperor, you never came to find Juju. Juju has missed you so very much. The Emperor's mouth stretched into a wide smile. Juju's little mouth is as sweet as honey. Were you frightened by what happened just now? Of course I was not afraid, she thought, but I do feel sorry for my mother. She already feels a lack of security, and just now she was so frightened that her body was trembling uncontrollably. Too bad my father knows nothing about it. Hearing Juju's inner voice, the emperor looked over at Consort Li with eyes that were full of tenderness and care. Consort Jiang said that I would neglect you both. You must have been terrified. My beloved consort, you can rest assured. I promise you that I will always protect you both. Consort Li felt a warmth spread through her heart upon hearing his words. Even Juju was surprised by this. When did my father become so considerate? He is actually thinking of my mother's insecurity. Today my father has a 2.5-meter aura. Noble Consort Qing, who was hiding in the shadows and watching everything, laughed at Consort Jiang's stupidity. She is truly brainless, she thought. Then she looked over at Consort Li. You will not be smug for much longer, you bitch. You just wait and see. That night, upon returning to their residence, her father took the initiative to tell Juju some stories to lull her to sleep. But just as the father and daughter were settling down by the bed, they suddenly heard urgent cries for help coming from outside. The emperor's face was full of displeasure. Who is making such a racket out there? But before he could truly get angry, something happened. The next second, they saw someone being carried in. This subject urgently requests an audience with Your Majesty. Please, Your Majesty. And the 18th princess, you must save my father. Although Prince Su was quite annoying, he was still the previous emperor's own blood brother. The emperor comforted Juju for a moment, and then walked out of the room. It turned out that half an hour before, Prince Su's second son had died suddenly, and he had fainted from the immense shock. My father called out for the 18th princess just before he fainted, so I have brought him here to see her. After just a moment, Prince Su slowly began to awaken. The instant he saw the emperor, he knelt down with a thud. Your Majesty, you must save this old subject. Please let me see the princess. I have very important matters to ask her about. The emperor immediately understood upon seeing Prince Su's condition. He can probably also hear Juju's inner voice, but he chose not to believe it before. I can help you to save your remaining sons, but you must first swear an oath that you will not spread the word about Juju's special ability. Can your Majesty also hear the inner voice of the princess? Prince Su was shocked, and then he quickly nodded his head in agreement. Go back and kill that concubine of yours. Then your sons will not have any more unfortunate accidents, the emperor advised him. But since she now controls the wealth and military power of my mansion, killing her will be very difficult. I can send the imperial guards to help you. Prince Su nodded his head helplessly. I should have listened to the princess from the very beginning, he lamented. And just like that, the prince's mansion returned to its former state of peace, and his other sons had no more incidents. But Prince Su started coming to the palace every few days to find Juju. Little princess, this is terrible. My third son has a fever and has fainted. What should I do? Juju looked very confused. If he has a fever, you should find a doctor. What is the point of telling me about it? Juju, my youngest son got into a fight and was beaten half to death. Is he going to die? If he cannot win fights, he should practice more. I cannot help him fight. Juju, my fifth son has gotten into a fight with his wife. Not listening, not listening. Like a turtle chanting sutras. Prince, please go back and discipline your sons. On this day, Juju finally could not take it anymore and ran to complain about it to her father. Who has been bullying you, Juju? Your father emperor will handle it for you. Father, please control grandfather Prince Su. He follows me around every day like a shadow. Juju does not want to hear his family gossip any longer. The emperor immediately issued a decree that forbade Prince Su from casually entering the palace to find Juju. Prince Su has been bothering you these days, so you have not had time to accompany your father emperor. Juju's 5th birthday was approaching soon. The emperor planned to celebrate it in a grand style, inviting everyone to the palace to celebrate with her. Juju's eyes immediately lit up upon hearing this news. This was because her father was currently in the process of selecting a consort for the crown prince, but none of the candidates were reliable people. If everyone is allowed to enter the palace, then my brother the crown prince's destined partner, Yuan Yin, will also appear. She was the person who treated him the best. I must find a way to bring them together. Her father listened with a confused expression. Who is Yuan Yin? How has she earned Juju's admiration? The emperor had many more questions to ask, but Juju had already turned her thoughts to other things. I wonder what kind of gifts everyone will bring for the birthday banquet. It would be the best if they brought snacks from outside the palace. I did not eat any special delicacies in my previous life. Her father's heart shook. How miserable was my little one's previous life that she did not even have good things to eat. He angrily picked up some pastries to throw them. Why doesn't the imperial kitchen learn how to make delicious food? What does Juju want to eat? I will have the imperial kitchen learn to make it right now. Ding ding! Should it be donkey rolling candy or little dog poop cake? Juju's uncontrollable tears of joy flowed from the corners of her mouth. She planted a happy kiss on the emperor's face. Consort Li watched the father and daughter with a tender expression. Your Majesty, please do not spoil Juju too much. Juju is my own daughter. If I do not spoil her, then who will? He asked. Swan, have the imperial kitchen learn to make these right now. Soon, the day of the banquet arrived, and Juju got up very early in the morning to dress up. Consort Li specially applied some light makeup for her daughter. She also dotted a delicate flower ornament on her forehead. Juju had been feeling a little bit sleepy before, but when she saw her own reflection dressed up in the mirror, all her drowsiness vanished, and she was shocked, speechless for a long moment. Who is this little fairy in the mirror? How can she possibly be so beautiful? To be so beautiful at such a young age, wouldn't I be even more amazing when I am all grown up? By that time, I will definitely be loved by everyone. Flowers will bloom when they see me, and cars will get flat tires. Consort Li was amused by her daughter's conceited inner voice. Little fairy, your birthday banquet is about to begin. Everyone is waiting for you. Juju threw herself right into Consort Li's arms. Mother, you are so beautiful today too. If Juju is a little fairy, then mother is a big fairy. If my father sees you, he will definitely be so enchanted that he will not know which way is north. After a few moments, they finally arrived at the banquet hall. It was still quite early, and the guests had not arrived yet. Juju suddenly had a clever idea. My mother is so beautiful. She should be hidden until the perfect moment. Then she could make a stunning entrance. So she turned and acted cute toward Consort Lee. Mother, the banquet has not started yet. Why don't you go to the side hall and have some tea first? Although Consort Lee heard her inner voice, she still pretended to cooperate with her plan. Now that you mention it, I am feeling a little bit thirsty. She was about to remind Juju not to run around, but she was already being pushed toward the side hall. After her mother, Consort Lee, had left, Juju began to jump around like a little monkey. That's strange. Why don't I see Sister Yuan Yin anywhere? Could she possibly be outside the hall? But just as Juju was about to go outside to look for her, she was distracted. She heard a commotion not far away. You ugly thing! What do you think you were doing, staring at this princess like that? I am going to beat you to death today. Juju looked over toward the source of the sound. She saw Funkai Wei there with two of her palace maids. They were beating and kicking a little girl on the ground. Juju was startled when she saw that the girl was her little cousin, Nan Yuan Shang. Because of a birthmark that was on her face, she had been treated as an outcast since she was a child. But Juju knew that when Nan Yuan Shang grew up, the birthmark on her face would eventually disappear. She was also very intelligent and would become the world's greatest merchant in the future. At this moment, Juju stepped forward to protect her. Funkai Wei, how dare you bully this princess's own little cousin? Funkai Wei was very startled to see Juju appear there. But then she sneered and said, What little cousin are you talking about? She is just a pitiful creature who is unloved by her own father and mother. 18th princess, aren't you just talking complete nonsense? Juju helped her little cousin get up from the ground. Do you really think that I would lie about something like this? I may be young, but I am not stupid at all. Would I not recognize my own relatives? If you dare to bully my little cousin again, I will make you pay dearly for it. Juju's harsh words, spoken in her soft and childish voice, had no real intimidating effect. Funkai Wei scoffed, clearly not taking her words seriously at all. But in the next second, Juju's eyes suddenly turned cold. You need to apologize to my cousin right now. That murderous gaze made Funkai Wei's body tremble slightly. She was the one who provoked me first. Why should I have to apologize? Juju naturally knew that with her cousin's personality, she would never be the one to start any trouble. Seeing that the other party still refused to admit her fault, Juju put her hands on her hips and called for help. Funkai Wei has maliciously beaten this princess's little cousin! Her behavior is extremely vicious. Throw her out of the palace immediately, she demanded loudly. The very next second, several imperial guards stepped forward and began to drag Funkai Wei out of the area amid her loud screams. Juju turned to Nan Yuan Shang, who was behind her. Little cousin, are you all right? Should I take you to see the imperial physician? Nan Yuan Shang quickly thanked Juju for her help, but she wondered how the 18th princess knew who she was. At the same time, back at the banquet, the emperor had been waiting for Consort Lee and Juju to arrive. He sent Swan to go and bring them back to the hall. But in the next second, Prince Dewan and his wife rushed in urgently. Dare I ask, imperial brother, if someone arrogantly threw my daughter Funkai Wei out of the palace by force, what crime should they have to bear for that? The emperor frowned when he heard this. Who would act so arrogant on such a joyous day as this? Tell me who it was, and I will help you handle it. Prince Dewan knelt down with a loud thud. What if that person happens to have a noble status and is deeply favored by you, imperial brother, and by our mother? All people are equal before the law. Prince Dewan, speak directly. I will naturally handle it for you. Seeing this, Prince Dewan hesitated no longer. The 18th princess, relying on your favor, imperial brother, acted recklessly and threw my daughter out of the palace. Please, brother, handle this fairly and give my daughter Funkai Wei justice. The emperor's face darkened upon hearing this. You have been beating around the bush for so long, so you are targeting my Juju. Are you absolutely certain that Juju threw someone out simply because she did not like them? Prince Dewan felt guilty but remained stubborn. Imperial brother, are you trying to protect Juju now? No matter how favored a princess is, she should not be so lawless. For a moment, there was a discussion throughout the entire court, with all condemning the 18th princess for being improper and demanding she receive a severe punishment for her actions. You all keep talking about punishment. Have you even figured out what actually happened? I know that my daughter Juju is not that kind of child. He then ordered that Juju be brought in to explain the situation clearly and have a face-to-face confrontation to determine what was right from what was wrong. A moment later, Juju returned with a limping Nanyuan Shang trailing behind her. Everyone who was present was shocked. Isn't that the unloved girl from the Nan family? How was she beaten so badly like this? The person who did this was too vicious, even breaking a little girl's leg. Prince Dewan, fearing there would be more trouble, quickly urged the emperor to severely punish Juju for her actions. But the emperor remained calm. Juju, Prince Dewan says that you expelled Feng Kai-wei from the palace without any reason. Is this true? If you have any grievances, tell your father emperor. I will certainly handle it for you. This fool, Prince Dewan, Juju thought. Who expelled his daughter without reason? It was clearly Feng Kai-wei who caused all of the trouble in the first place. I did indeed expel Feng Kai-wei from the palace. But she bullied my little cousin first, and then refused to apologize, even turning right and wrong upside down. The imperial guards who were there also testified for her. If the 18th princess had not intervened in time, Miss Nan might have been left permanently disabled from the attack. Looking at Prince Dewan again, the emperor's eyes were extremely cold. Prince Dewan, you have failed to discipline your own daughter, allowing her to abuse and punish people in the palace. You are fined 1 year's salary, and you do not need to attend the banquet. Go home and reflect on your actions. Juju was very satisfied. My father is getting better and better now. In the future, my little cousin and I will work together to become big and strong, earning money that could not be spent in several lifetimes. Nan Yuan Shang, hearing her inner voice, resolved to help Juju make a lot of money in the future. Soon, the birthday banquet began, and Juju's eyes sparkled as she looked at the large pile of gifts. I am rich! I am rich, she thought happily. These treasures look very valuable just from their appearance alone. Juju, where did your mother go to? The emperor asked. Only then did Juju suddenly wake up from her excitement. Oh no, I completely forgot all about my mother. At that very moment, Consort Li slowly walked out, dressed in elegant brocade robes that made her look both dignified and graceful. This made the emperor beside her gape in admiration. Consort Li, what took you so long? I have some very good news to tell you. Your family was previously exiled from the kingdom under false charges of treason. The truth has now come to light, and I have sent people to bring them back from the frontier. Soon, your family will be reunited. Consort Li's heart ached with emotion, and tears almost began to fall from her eyes. But considering that it was supposed to be a joyous day, she knew that she should be smiling more. The emperor, looking at the smiles of Consort Li and Juju, suddenly felt that there was nothing in the entire world that was better than this very moment. However, while the banquet was still in full swing, there was an interruption. Someone suddenly reported to the crown prince. From the Yu family, Yuan Yin is climbing trees in the imperial garden to peep at men, which is causing quite a crowd. Please handle this, crown prince. Only then did Juju suddenly remember what was happening. In the original book, someone had deliberately framed Yuan Yin, which made my brother, the crown prince, dislike her very much. This time, with me present, I must help them to clear up this terrible misunderstanding between them. A moment later, they arrived at the scene of the incident. By that time, many people had already gathered underneath the tree, and from their angle, Yuan Yin did indeed look as though she was climbing the tree to peep at men. But the crown prince then heard Juju's inner voice. She has keenly noticed that Yuan Yin is holding a baby bird in her hands and is trying to return it to its nest. At this moment, a graceful young lady suddenly appeared. This was noble consort Zhang's illegitimate sister, Nan Baling. Crown Prince, you have finally come. This subject summoned you here because Miss Yu was improperly peeping at men. Please punish her severely, Crown Prince. Hearing the name of the Crown Prince, Yuan Yin, who was still in the tree, immediately started to panic. She slipped and then fell down from the tree. The Crown Prince urgently reached out his arms to catch her. In the next second, the two of them were hugging each other in an embrace. Juju had an expression on her face as if she had just witnessed something wonderful. My brother, the Crown Prince, and sister Yuan Yin, you two are so well matched. Yuan Yin, realizing her improper position immediately jumped out of the Crown Prince's arms. Her face was red with embarrassment as she quickly thanked him. "Miss Yu, you are unharmed. But may I ask why you climbed so high in the tree?" Yuan Yin was just about to explain what happened when Nan Bawling interrupted her. "Of course, it is because she is completely shameless. Everyone here saw her climbing the tree to peep at men. Please do not let her off, Crown Prince." Juju puffed up her cheeks angrily. Sister Yuan Yin was clearly just returning a baby bird to its nest. "Brother Crown Prince, this is important. You must listen to Sister Yuan Yin's own explanation. Do not be deceived by these bad people and misunderstand Sister Yuan Yin's sincere and kind heart." Juju makes sense. I would like to hear Miss Yu's explanation too. Seeing this, Juju was secretly delighted. As long as her brother, the Crown Prince, was willing to listen, he could definitely change the tragic ending from the original book. But, unexpectedly, Yuan Yin, who was usually bold and straightforward, became shy and tongue-tied when she was facing the Crown Prince. She did not know what was wrong with her, but she seemed to start stuttering whenever she met him. If I am not able to explain this situation clearly, what if the Crown Prince begins to dislike me? Juju was even more anxious than she was. Miss Yu is just shy because she is facing her beloved brother, the Crown Prince. You have to believe her, she thought desperately. After hearing Juju's inner voice, the Crown Prince looked at Yuan Yin with much gentler eyes than before. The rumors say that she is very eloquent, that she is being so cautious with me. How adorable, he thought. Miss Yu, please do not panic. Just explain everything clearly, and I will believe you. Only then did Yuan Yin finally gather her courage. This subject saw a baby bird that had fallen from its nest, and I climbed the tree only to help it return back home. The Crown Prince felt very pleased by this. But Nan Bawling would not let the matter go. Everyone here just saw you climbing up the tree to peep. How can you prove that what you are saying is actually true? Juju stamped her little feet in anger. They are a perfect match for each other. When is it your turn as a demon to object to it? You demon, go away quickly! I saw with my own 2 eyes that Sister Yuan Yin put the little bird back inside its nest. The tree is very high. How could you have seen that so clearly, little princess? Before Juju had a chance to explain how she knew, someone else spoke. The Crown Prince sternly interrupted her. If Juju says that she saw it, then she saw it. Are you questioning the royal family? Guards! This concubine's daughter from the Nan family is stirring up trouble and showing disrespect to the royal relatives. Drag her away from here and slap her 50 times. After Nan Bawling was taken away, Juju looked at the Crown Prince with eager eyes. Brother Prince, Juju likes Sister Yuan Yin. Can I please stay with Sister Yuan Yin a little longer? She wanted to see her brother and Sister Yuan Yin spend more time together so that she could continue to eat candy. So Juju likes eating candy, the Crown Prince thought. Then I will have to bring a few white rabbit candies with me when I go out in the future. The Crown Prince did not disappoint Juju either, as he actively invited Yuan Yin to return to the banquet together with them. As the group of them walked back, Juju found Yuan Yin to be more and more likable. She did not have the time to look carefully at her earlier, but now she could see that Sister Yuan Yin was indeed very beautiful. That head of lustrous black hair and those pearl-like eyes. She looked even more adorable when viewed up close. She really wanted to reach out and touch her sister's little face, but unfortunately, her own hands were too short. No matter how much she stretched, she could not reach her. Seeing Juju's flailing appearance, Yuan Yin thought that Juju must have wanted a gift from her. So she took off the hairpin that was in her hair. Today is the princess's birthday. This servant has not yet congratulated the princess. Please accept this first. There will be more gifts presented when we enter the main hall. Upon hearing this, Juju was stunned. She had been misunderstood by the beautiful sister as a little money grubber. If she said now that she wanted to touch her face, wouldn't that make her seem like a little rogue? The Crown Prince could not bear to see Juju in trouble, so he decided that he would help her out. He leaned close to Yuan Yin's ear and whispered, "She wants to touch your face." Yuan Yin's heart jumped, and then her face turned red all the way down to her thighs. "Prince, you want to touch my face? This is probably not very appropriate." The Crown Prince was also dumbfounded and hurriedly waved his hands to clarify the situation. "Not me, it's Juju. Juju wants to touch your face." Upon hearing this, Yuan Yin's face turned even redder. So it was the princess who wanted to touch my face. What was I being so presumptuous about just now? How embarrassing. Sorry, I misunderstood. After saying this, she quickly found an excuse and ran into the banquet hall like a strong gust of wind. This left Juju standing there feeling completely confused. Brother Prince, what did you say to Sister Yuan Yin that scared her away like that? The Crown Prince looked very embarrassed. I just said that you wanted to touch her face, and then... Juju was instantly thunderstruck. Does she hate me that much? The moment touching her face was mentioned, she ran away without even looking back at me. Am I really that annoying? The Crown Prince was just about to explain what happened. Juju suddenly burst into tears with a loud wah! Just as the situation was getting completely out of control, help arrived. A big hand suddenly reached down and picked her up. The Emperor had a cold expression on his face. What is going on here? Who was it that made my Juju so unhappy? The Crown Prince stammered in his reply. It was my poor care that made Juju cry. This son knows that he has made a mistake. If knowing your mistakes was useful, what would we need police for? You are punished to reflect alone today, and find a way to compensate Juju later. The Emperor carried her back to the banquet, where Consort Li hurriedly asked what had happened to make Juju so upset. But it would have been better if she had not asked. Once she asked about it, Juju started to cry even harder. Juju did not want to be crying either, but somehow, she just could not seem to control her tears. This completely broke the Emperor's heart. Although Juju retained all the memories from her previous life, she was still only a child after all. So he immediately gave Juju a roasted chicken drumstick. Good girl, Juju, eat a drumstick. You need to eat your fill, so you have the strength to cry. Consort Lai and Juju were both speechless. That is some good comforting. Please do not comfort like that again. But with this move from her father, Juju did indeed stop crying. So she might as well reluctantly eat the drumstick first. Seeing that her emotions had finally calmed down, the Emperor finally asked about the cause. Juju, who was it that made you cry? Was it that little brat, the Crown Prince, bullying you? It has nothing to do with my brother, the prince, but Juju does not want to say. After all, this whole matter was far too embarrassing. Before the Emperor could press her for more information, Juju had already jumped down from her seat and left the room. She wanted to use her own method to make Sister Yuan Yin like her. She could not let her father use his imperial position to put pressure on her, so she began to search all around the banquet hall for her. Finally, with great difficulty, she found Yuan Yin. However, just as she was about to run over, in the next second, she crashed right into a human wall. The person frowned upon seeing her. You, little 18th, who dresses as a man while pretending to be a woman. Your big brother is asking you something. Why do you not answer me? Juju was also stunned by the collision. Big brother, could he be the first prince who has been away campaigning for years? He is also quite a tragic figure. 10 years from now, when Western Chu falls, he will have his head cut off by the enemy troops on the battlefield. Juju respectfully greeted him, but the first prince was shocked. Where did that voice come from? Listening to these words, could this possibly be my own inner thoughts? He is actually cursing me to be beheaded, and is saying that Western Chu will fall as well, he thought, in disbelief. What kind of nonsense are you spouting right now, you little brat? He demanded. Juju looked completely confused by his reaction. She had just bowed to him respectfully. How could she have offended him? The people standing around were also discussing it. Why is the first prince so moody today? The princess just greeted him, so why is he so angry? Forget it. I will not argue with you. The first prince turned to leave, but Juju, who was behind him, made a funny face at him. Originally, she had wanted to remind him that he was going to lose his front teeth today. But seeing his bad attitude, he definitely would not believe her, and might even blame her instead. The first prince snorted coldly. This prince is a dignified warrior. How could I possibly just fall down like that? But the slap in the face came much too quickly. The very next second, his left foot stepped on his right foot, and with a loud thud, he fell flat on his face. The huge sound drew a crowd to watch. The Emperor also came over upon hearing the commotion. What is going on here? Why is it so noisy? The first prince hurriedly turned around. Father Emperor, you are here, he said. Holy crap! Why is my mouth leaking air? Only then did he realize that he had actually lost his front teeth. The first prince was already not very favored by the emperor. Now, after making such a big fool of himself in front of him, he would probably be even more neglected in the future. But Juju knew that although the first prince was very straightforward, he was also wholeheartedly devoted to Western Shu. If the emperor's opinion of him soured because of this, that would not be good. So she explained the situation to her father. The banquet clothes are very thick and long. My big brother Prince campaigns year-round and does not wear them often. If the size does not fit, it would be strange if he did not fall. What Juju says makes a lot of sense. The emperor immediately announced that military generals could choose not to wear the long robes to banquets in the future. After saying this, he looked at the first prince again. Your mother consort has excellent medical skills. Go and ask her if this can be treated. The first prince was extremely ashamed. He did not expect that after he had treated her like that, she would still plead with the emperor on his behalf. At that moment, Juju appeared to be infinitely adorable in his eyes. She is clearly a boy, but why does she look even more delicate than a little girl? He wondered. Meanwhile, Juju had found Yuan Yin once again. After some careful explanation, the misunderstanding with Juju was finally all cleared up. It is all that pig-headed prince brother's fault. He cannot even relay a simple message properly. Your Highness, are you hungry? Would you like to eat something? But Juju had just been fed a large chicken drumstick and was not hungry at all. Yuan Yin nodded. Then let's watch the song and dance performance first before we eat. I heard that today's dancers were all sent from the Southern Kingdom. We usually do not get to see them. Juju felt that this was strange. As enemy nations, how could they have sent dancers over to them? I heard it is because the Southern Kingdom was defeated before and could not pay the reparations, so they sent them over instead. They also seem to have sent an 8 or 9-year-old hostage prince. How pitiful. Juju's heart sank. A hostage prince from the Southern Kingdom. Isn't that the male lead from the story who will destroy Western Shu 10 years from now? In the original story, he was sent as a hostage to Western Shu, but he suffered all kinds of royal humiliation while he was here. Later, when he returned to the Southern Kingdom and became the emperor, he was determined to take his revenge on Western Shu. Thinking of this, Juju felt completely hopeless. It is over. It is over. Now that he is here, everything is completely finished. The little Princess Juju thinks she came here and has a family that loves her. She believes that for their sake, she can't just sit there and watch the future of her country being destroyed. The princess asks Sister Jin if she knows where the hostages will be taken. Sister Jin replies that she doesn't know either. Sister Jin mentions it was arranged by His Majesty himself. Sister Jin advises that if the princess is curious, she can ask His Majesty after the banquet, and tells her to enjoy her birthday party. The princess feels she doesn't want to disappoint everyone's kindness in preparing for her, but it's really urgent. She realizes the party is finally over, and she has to find her dad quickly. She calls out, "Father!" Father asks how Juju came there. Juju says she came just in time to accompany Daddy to visit his big brother. Daddy thinks that Brat won't be in any trouble, so he can just find a chance to spend more time with his precious Juju, and Juju squeals, "Hey, hey, hey!" Two people watch as Daddy carries Juju away. It's the mother and brother. They greet His Majesty. Juju asks her big brother if he is okay. Her other brother grumbles that Juju only knows how to care about him and asks what she is doing there. The other brother nervously thinks that he treats his younger brother like this, but he still comes to care about him and wonders how he has the nerve to meet him like this. Sister Jin tells the princess that, thank you for her concern, the bleeding has stopped. Juju playfully wonders if the older brother is covering his face so shyly because he is too embarrassed to see people because of his missing teeth. The older brother exclaims he's fine, and that he doesn't care about these teeth at all. Juju knows, and then asks if her big brother is going to eat Juju. Juju whispers that she didn't mean to scare him. Daddy tells he is not a child anymore, so he should be more careful and not scare Juju. He also says that since there's nothing serious, she should just take a good rest. And that's all for today. Daddy thinks that Juju was not scared. Daddy comically wonders what kind of drug the eldest prince had given Juju, feeling a little jealous of his son's hold on his daughter's affection. Juju changes topic, mentioning the Nan Kingdom hostage and asking his location. Her dad advises her to stay away from the hostage, fearing Nan Kingdom's plans. Juju cleverly insists her dad tell her the hostage's location to avoid him. Her father realizes the hostage is key to Shichu's fall and can't be hidden. He considers asking Juju about Western Chu's fall, but thinks she's too young. The Emperor sighs, realizing the problem is unresolved, and Juju will worry. He tells Juju the hostage is in Ziguan Hall, and she happily thanks him. Daddy reminds her to take him, but Juju promises to be careful. Juju approaches Ziguan Hall, finding it desolate like a cold palace. She remembers her dad's worry, but decides to investigate alone to avoid alerting enemies. She recalls this is where hero Dijiang was humiliated, leading to the country's ruin. Juju decides she needs to get closer to see how Dijiang is doing. 2 guards stop her, saying Ziguan is forbidden, and telling the princess to go back. Juju pouts, thinking Daddy agreed, so why couldn't she enter? A guard offers to accompany her, but Juju sweetly declines, promising to be careful. Juju confidently believes the hostage is too young to hurt her. Her small red-shoed foot steps forward. She peeks around the corner, ready to see the hostage. Juju's eyes widen in surprise as she sees the young boy. The boy looks serious and distant. Juju excitedly wonders if he is the male protagonist, Dijiang. Juju spots a kneeling man and asks why he is there. The kind princess tells him to get up, but he inwardly thinks to avoid her. 2 stern guards explain the emperor ordered him to kneel for a month and tell the princess to leave him alone. The princess looks shocked, wondering why her dad gave such an order. The guards explain the kneeling is punishment to intimidate the treacherous Nan kingdom. Dian sadly thinks his legs will break if he keeps kneeling. He sighs, realizing he was just a shield for the Nan kingdom, wondering why this happened to him. A dark memory shows him in pain, recalling a book that mentions Emperor Jiang suffers unbearable pain in bad weather. A fiery image with a sword appears, as he recalls Emperor Jiang chopping off royal family members' legs after a kingdom fell. Juju looks determined, while a smiling attendant thinks she should stay away from Dijiang. The sweet princess gently takes his hand, reassuring him it doesn't matter. With bright, hopeful eyes, Juju declares she will find the emperor now. Dian looks up, surprised by her brave promise. Juju, with a cheerful smile, promises him she will definitely come back. Dian watches her go, his hand clenching with a tiny spark of unexpected hope. He looks at his hand, wondering if he was dreaming about Juju's kind words. A shadowy inner voice warns him no one will help him, that she is just making an excuse to leave. He is left alone, still kneeling and feeling abandoned. He tries to squash his hope, telling himself not to hold on to it, as the scene shifts to the palace. Juju bursts into the room, happily calling for her daddy. The emperor, looking pleased, smiles warmly at his daughter, calling her Juju. He gently asks if she came because she missed him. He playfully squishes her cheeks, noting she looks tired and dirty, and checks if she's injured. He offers to avenge her if someone bullied her, but she simply replies, she's fine. Juju bravely tells her father she heard he ordered the proton to kneel for a month, and she wants to talk about it. The emperor reacts with shock, asking if she went alone and if the proton hurt her. Juju reassures him she's fine, and the man is a hostage, then sweetly pleads that he not make the hostage kneel again. The emperor explains the hostage is punishment because the Nan kingdom tried to frame them, warning they wouldn't be taken seriously otherwise. Juju looks troubled, secretly thinking such harshness would make the hostage bear a grudge and retaliate later. A worried thought reveals her fear. The hostage is a son of destiny who might someday destroy the royal family. Her father also thinks about the hostage, realizing he is a key figure in the country's destruction. The emperor agrees that kneeling can solve the problem, and his daughter happily encourages him to figure it out. But then the emperor angrily exclaims he should have been killed, shocking his daughter. Juju quickly argues that killing him would make them seem cruel and ruthless, and be even more dangerous. The emperor looks thoughtful, reflecting that his life has been coveted, and it was destiny he ascended the throne. A powerful image shows the emperor reflecting that, after ascending the throne, he cleaned up those people. Clever Juju makes a final pitch, saying that giving him a chance today might be their chance of survival later. Juju smiles, explaining it's not good to have someone holding a grudge, as she doesn't want anyone in danger. The emperor finally gives in, saying the hostage doesn't have to kneel anymore, making Juju happily thank him. Meanwhile, Dijiang remains alone, still kneeling in the cold courtyard. He wonders how long he's been kneeling, and how long Juju has been gone, missing her presence. He tries to push away hope, telling himself, she will definitely not come again. Suddenly, he hears someone announce, "Welcome, Princess," making his eyes widen in shocked surprise. He stares, utterly stunned and thinking she's really here? The little Princess Juju bounced with excitement, looking so happy she could pop. Juju happily told her big brother that their father had agreed to cancel his kneeling punishment. The kind doctor offered to help, but her brother bravely insisted that he could stand up. Juju sweetly reassured her brother, saying there was no need to be nervous and that the doctor would cure him. The physician examined his leg closely and announced that it was only a superficial injury and would heal after applying ointment. Juju's face lit up with a giant smile as she exclaimed that it was very good news. In her mind, Juju giggled, thinking that as long as there were no sequelae, her brother probably wouldn't chop off everyone's legs for revenge in the future. With a firm grip on his hand, Juju pulled her brother along and told him they should go inside first. A feast of yummy-looking dishes, prepared at Juju's request, was waiting for them. In chibi form, Juju happily told her brother that he should eat more to replenish his body. Her brother watched her and thought that she had considered everything so thoroughly and genuinely seemed to care about him. A shadow of doubt crossed his face as he pondered, wondering if her kindness truly came from the consent of the Emperor of Jichu. He then questioned whether the Emperor had suddenly changed his attitude toward him simply because of the little princess' words of persuasion. His thoughts grew darker as he convinced himself that the Emperor must have other intentions, such as using the little princess to kill him. He subtly touched his ring, remembering that it held a silver needle to test for poison. He looked at Juju's innocent face and realized that he couldn't bring himself to hurt her kindness by testing the food in front of her. Juju looked troubled, sensing that he was still a little uneasy, and knew she needed a plan. Suddenly, Juju's eyes sparkled as she had a brilliant idea and declared her excitement. With a triumphant smile, she told him that she had even asked their father for permission to read it to him first. A servant began reading from a scroll, announcing that from now on, the southern hostages no longer needed to kneel. Her brother looked completely stunned, thinking that she had fought for all of this on his behalf. Juju happily munched on a drumstick, gushing that it was delicious, and that she would try each dish herself. A gentle smile touched her brother's lips as he watched her. He responded softly, saying they would eat together. Later the night, a woman says, "Si Chu Emperor hates Nan Kingdom so much. The little princess helping him might be some sort of a conspiracy. But Price says that the adults might have hurt him, but Juju will not. He thought she was the only person to help him, and longed when he will meet her the next time." Juju woke up bright and early, rubbing her sleepy eyes and wondering what was going on. Suddenly, 3 big brothers appeared over her bed, making her jump with a surprised gasp. She let out a tiny "ah" in shock, seeing the princes looming over her bed. Juju, a bit teary, quietly thought the Prince brothers were cute but scary when they woke her up. The eldest prince smiled kindly, saying they hadn't meant to scare Juju. Juju, being sweet, quickly forgave them, declaring that she was fine and they didn't need to copy anything. She then wondered why the 3 brothers were looking for her, before being asked if she wanted to leave the palace. Juju's eyes sparkled, happily agreeing she wanted to leave, as she had never been outside the palace walls. The younger princes secretly whispered that General Yu was refusing marriage, so the prince needed Juju's charm. Juju, a bit surprised, realized the prince wanted to use her, which made him blush. The prince quickly tried to smooth things over, saying that was only one reason, and hoped Juju could finally touch Miss Yu's face. He offered a fun deal. If she didn't succeed, he would be her big horse to ride. Juju's face lit up, eagerly agreeing to the deal because she had never ridden a big horse. The prince smiled, thinking Juju would win either way, a fun ride or getting to touch Miss Yu's face. At the general's gate, Juju looked puzzled, asking if the prince hadn't guaranteed she could touch Miss Yu's face. They stood before the Grand Yu mansion, realizing they couldn't even get past the front door. The prince, clearly annoyed, grumbled to himself about General Yu's stubbornness. Juju watched as the prince thought hard, knowing he had to find a way to please the wealthy General Yu. Juju had a clever idea. Find the special tarot that was impossible to buy in the capital. She recalled from her book that General Yu loved tarot, and finding it was the key to pleasing him. She suggested the West Market, full of rare things, where they might find something to impress General Yu. The prince was impressed by Juju's smart idea, agreeing that they should go look for the tarot together. As they walked, Juju mused on how smart her prince brother was, finally understanding why the general hadn't found tarot for years. Juju looked quite tired and complained about the long, difficult roads to the remote West Market. They finally bought the rare tarot, and the prince gave the vendor extra tips, hoping everything would go smoothly. A servant at General Yu's gate tried to turn them away, but they insisted on delivering the special tarot for the unwell general. Seeing the unique gift, the servant invited them into the living room while he informed his master. Juju noticed the prince looked so nervous as they waited in the formal room. She reassured him in her thoughts that it was perfectly fine to be nervous when proposing something so important. Suddenly, the door opened, and General Yu has arrived, making both the prince and Juju brace themselves. General Yu looked at them and greeted. He was surprised to see Juju in his palace and expressed his amusement and greeted her too. She pleaded General Yu to listen to her brother on something important. He said to say anything but give up if they have any idea on marriage. Juju was startled by this, and the prince refused without saying anything. Juju looks all confused, wondering why the prince was rejected so quickly only. Grandpa Yu explains he already has a good match in mind for his daughter, you see. Liu Pei, the minister's son, has already proposed to Wanyan, it seems. This Liu Pei is described as a handsome and talented gentleman, they say. Grandpa Yu politely asks the prince to find another good match, if he could. The prince looks completely shocked, only managing a but. The princess, still curious, asks what kind of gentleman this Liu Pei actually is. The book reveals Liu Pei is lustful and violent, doing all kinds of evil. The clever princess schemes that taking Grandpa Yu to the bad place will fix all. She realizes it's too strange for a child to suggest that, deciding it was her turn to do something. The prince offers to buy her toys, completely unaware of her master plan. Her eyes sparkle as she excitedly mentions a night market with bamboo dragonflies, you know. Grandpa Yu worriedly tells her the night market is too dangerous at night. She sweetly insists General Yu can protect them and finds waiting here so boring. Grandpa Yu, completely charmed, finally gives in and agrees to go. Under the twinkling stars, she spots a bamboo dragonfly and wants to go there only. She politely takes a toy from someone, saying thanks. Grandpa Yu offers more toys, but she says this one is enough for her. Her cute act drops, and she vows to find Liu Pei fast. A woman pleads with Liu Pei to release her. The princess spots Liu Pei. She cunningly asks Grandpa Yu if that is the gentleman he mentioned. The woman kneels, begging to go home because her parents can't live without me. Liu Pei smirks, demanding she follow him for delicious food and spicy drinks, like that. The woman accuses Liu Pei of torturing her sister to death, begging him to just let her go. Liu Pei's face darkens, telling her, "Don't give me face." Literally. The desperate woman screams for help, hoping someone will come and save her. Liu Pei's man cries out that his father-in-law is right there, stunning Liu Pei. Liu Pei smugly thinks his conservative father-in-law never goes out at night, so how did this happen? Grandpa Yu stands tall over a stunned Liu Pei, waiting for his explanation, you see. Before Liu Pei can even say anything, Grandpa Yu gives him a solid punch. He threatens to send Liu Pei straight to the government office tomorrow, for all his cheating. Juju, peeking, mentally warns the crown prince to treat Sister Yu well, okay? Back indoors, Grandpa Yu apologizes for the incident. Grandpa Yu calls out loudly for the food to be served now. Sister Yu gracefully serves the food. The princess gleefully tells Sister Yu they missed her so much and invites her to eat with them. The prince and Sister Yu share a sweet and shy moment between them. Sister Yu graciously thanks them for their concern, all formal-like. Grandpa Yu, watching them, thinks he doesn't really want his daughter marrying into the palace. He sees their affection, realizing they, quote, already have each other in their hearts, as Juju gives a knowing smile. Juju pushes it, asking if the prince and Sister Yu can be together, making Grandpa Yu cough awkwardly. Cough, cough. Grandpa Yu notes her bluntness, but declares the matter should not be delayed. The prince agrees and honors his answer him. Grandpa Yu, with a mustache, makes a big promise to the prince. The prince is surprised and happy, gasping, "Really?" The pleased prince tells his attendant the son-in-law will bring gifts tomorrow. The prince and the Sister Yu stand happily together. Price Yu thinks the prince agreed to her mischief to care for Wanyan. Grandpa Yu man thinks Wanyan likes the prince too. A good match. The little girl Juju happily hugs another, saying, "Sister Yu and I are family." Sister Yu whispers, "Yes," as the older girl pats her head. Juju is overjoyed, thinking, "I finally touched that little face." Juju is so happy. A little worry. Juju wonders if touching Miss Yu means no more horse rides with the prince. Juju is proud, thinking she helped the prince marry and keep his home. Juju beams, thinking, "What a happy day," as the prince watches. The prince calls Juju, who realizes she hasn't thanked him. The prince gently postpones their talk, seeing Juju is already asleep. Juju, sleepy, mumbles about riding the prince's big horse. Juju asks if touching Miss Yu was okay, and the prince promises a ride for her good work. The prince gives Juju a happy piggyback ride, and she cheers, "Happy!" An attendant informs the prince his second prince brother is here with news. The prince is surprised and happy to hear it's his second brother, letting him in. Juju's thoughts warn. The second prince is not a good person, and the prince looks worried. Juju thinks the second prince pretends to be friends to become the crown prince. The prince looks shocked, wondering, is the second emperor actually this kind of person? The prince sadly thinks his second brother, hated by their mother, only had him as a friend. The prince feels betrayed, while Juju asks, "Brother Prince, what's wrong with you?" Juju seriously decides to avoid the second prince as soon as possible. The prince bravely says he's tired, secretly glad to have Juju. The prince tells Qingyi to tell his brother he's tired, and to come back another day. The prince seriously tells Qingyi to make excuses to send his brother away. The prince firmly says, "I don't want to see him again," and Qingyi agrees. The prince gently tells Juju it's bedtime, promising a big horse ride another day, and she says, "Good." Juju sleeps, thinking she likes the prince and will help him avoid a sad future. The prince smiles tenderly at sleeping Juju, grateful she truly cares. The next morning, Juju wakes with a big, adorable stretch. Juju asks an attendant why the prince left early, learning he went to work. Juju asks to walk alone, but the attendant says it's too dangerous for a young princess outside. Eager, Juju asks to bring guards and Aunt Gi, excited for her first trip outside the palace. Hand in hand, Juju excitedly declares, "I want to eat delicious food on the street." Juju and the attendant happily walk down the busy street. Suddenly, an ominous person appears saying, "Finally found the opportunity." Juju, with joy, explores outside with Aunt Gui. She giggles, head patted, wondering if her mother knows she's out. Big Brother promises yummy food, making Juju's eyes sparkle. Juju grumbles, thinking the Big Brother is being petty and holds a grudge, while he looks confused by her reaction. The Big Brother quickly apologizes for scaring Juju and promises to take her to a special bun shop with delicious treats. Finally happy, Juju excitedly looks at the menu at the bun shop, while her Big Brother happily offers to treat her. Big Brother feels a surge of determination, seeing this as a great chance to make Juju like him more. He confidently recommends his favorite meat buns to Juju, praising how delicious they are. Big Brother feels encouraged, believing he can definitely get closer to Juju if he keeps trying so hard. He decides to go order the food himself to give Juju a fun surprise. Juju stares in disbelief at the towering stack of buns, asking if Big Brother intends to stuff her to death. Other customers in the shop gawk at the incredible amount of buns the two people have ordered. Juju, holding a bun, bravely promises to finish everything and not waste any food, making Big Brother smile. An astonished person marvels that such a young child has a stomach as big as a cow's to eat so much. Juju announces she's too full and needs a walk, while her Big Brother insists on joining her. Juju calls out to her Big Brother to finish his buns first, reminding him not to waste food. Big Brother quickly agrees to eat fast and stay nearby, earning a satisfied "knew it" from Juju. Juju walks off, muttering to herself that Big Brother is a big fool for having such a huge appetite. She continues her walk through the lively street, looking adorable. Juju spots a jewelry stall and lovingly picks out a hairpin, hoping her mother will be happy with the gift. Suddenly, a rude young man calls out a dismissive, "Hey, shorty!" to Juju. The young man brazenly demands Juju's gold and jade necklace, claiming his sister wants it. Juju refuses, declaring the necklace is hers and a precious gift from her mother during hard times. The rude young man insults Juju, calling her a, quote, country pumpkin, and introduces himself as Jiang Cheng, a powerful figure's relative. Jiang Cheng arrogantly repeats his demand, saying it's an honor for his sister to like her belongings. Juju bravely warns Jiang Cheng that his relative was just jailed, and attempting to rob her would send them both to prison. Jiang Cheng looks shocked and annoyed, thinking Juju is a hard person for talking back. Angered, Jiang Cheng, with 2 men, declares he will beat Juju up and teach her a lesson. Aunt, accompanying Juju, looks worried, wondering why the prince's mansion guards haven't arrived to protect her. Jiang Cheng smirks, thinking Juju is scared and that it's too late for her. Suddenly, a bun from the shop smacks Jiang Cheng in the face. Juju's big brother appears, looking absolutely furious, saying don't dare to try that again on his sister. Juju, with joy, feeling super safe because her cool older brother is a military commander. The older brother secretly smiles, wanting to make his sister feel at ease, as a sassy young boy rudely asks, "Who are you?" Jiang Cheng teases the brother about fake teeth, making the brother yell, "Shut up!" in an angry way. The prince, looking quite angry, proudly announces, "I'm the eldest prince," and tells them to mind their manners. Jiang Cheng, still not convinced, wonders aloud if a real prince would dress so plainly and eat street food. The little girl looks scared and holds on to her brother, as the boy suspiciously asks if she's the emperor's favorite princess. The rude boy and his friends demand the prince give up the little girl, thinking he's just trying to be difficult. The prince, with a confident smirk, asks if they're ready to rumble, warning them he's no match at all. The kind prince tells his little sister to step back to stay safe, and she bravely cheers. "Don't lose the fight, big brother." A tough-looking guy with a headband rushes forward, ready to throw the first punch. The prince effortlessly blocks the punch with his arm, barely even blinking. He thinks about all the years he spent fighting, realizing this little scuffle is nothing compared to his experience. More bad guys charge, but the prince skillfully dodges and blocks, knowing he can handle everyone. The prince coolly steps on a defeated foe, looking pleased, as his little sister happily claps, totally impressed. Juju giggles, wishing she could join in and give the bad guys a punch too. The prince thinks it's best to keep Juju safe, but making her happy by winning is super easy. With a swift left hook, the prince sends another bad guy flying, and just like that, another villain is kicked right down to the ground. Juju cheers, "Big brother is awesome," while the prince smirks, thinking, "Yep, that's just me." Jiang Cheng, still on the ground, screams that he'll tell his dad on them. Jiang Cheng boasts that his father, Jiang Qingshan, is a big shot official, threatening the prince and Juju. The prince and Juju teasingly stick out their tongues, showing they're not scared one bit. The prince just walks away, looking totally unbothered by Jiang Cheng's loud claims about his powerful father. Aunt Gui warns them to run away, looking quite worried about what's coming. Juju looks fiercely confused, asking, "Why should we run? We didn't do anything wrong." Aunt again warns them that the Jiang family is powerful and often bullies people, saying they could be in big trouble. The prince, looking super annoyed, thinks, "Oh, they're just so brave," in a very sarcastic way. He also promises Juju that he will absolutely make those bullies pay for what they did. Jiang Cheng points at them, yelling, "Dad, that's them," as his father approaches. Jiang Cheng's father, with a big mustache and a mean look, promises to teach the prince and Juju a lesson. The father, looking very proud, tells the prince to immediately kneel before him. The mean father threatens the prince, saying if he begs, he might not totally hurt him. The prince calmly replies with a simple, "Yeah?" The prince coolly tells Jiang Qingshan that his son doesn't seem to know who he's messing with. The father looks stunned and confused, as the prince asks if he really doesn't know who he is, hinting at his true identity. Jiang Qingshan respectfully greets the tall prince, exclaiming, "Great, great prince!" He and his servant bow very low, begging the prince for forgiveness and saying they were blind. Jiang Cheng's face twists in shock and horror, realizing, is he really the eldest prince? Ouch! Jiang Cheng then gets a painful smack across the face. His father angrily yells at him and asking, "Why don't you kneel down quickly?" Cheng tries to defend themselves, asking, "How can you blame me when they were just following orders?" The prince, looking calm, calls the situation off and orders the troublemakers taken for a thorough investigation. The prince gently asked Juju if she was okay, and she sweetly thanked her big brother for protecting her. The prince gently asked Juju if she was okay, and she sweetly thanked her big brother for protecting her. Juju worried internally, noting that the government lord in the book was not a good person. The prince's eyes narrowed, signaling his determination to deal with the unreasonable and corrupt official. The prince kindly suggested to Juju that they go to the government office together to supervise the case. Juju smiled, happily agreeing and thinking her big brother had wonderfully solved her worries. The prince and Juju walked hand in hand through a bustling, colorful market. The daughter asked if the little girl was Juju, then told her father not to rush. She acknowledged his longing to see his family, but cautioned that it wasn't a good time for him to return. The grandfather insisted that after waiting for 3 years, a short moment wouldn't matter. Inside, an official accused the main government official of improperly covering up cases for the Jiang and Liu families. The main official scolded, asking what was wrong with him shielding them and questioning the other's authority. Juju, listening, realized that the Lord's office genuinely intended to protect them. She felt frustrated that the good Jiang Qingshan couldn't stop the corruption due to his lower official rank. The main official declared they would give the case only superficial treatment and then release the culprits for his own financial gain. Suddenly, the prince appeared behind the shocked official, announcing his unexpected arrival. The official looked terrified, stammering apologies and claiming it was all a misunderstanding. Prince Brother stepped on the official, showing his dominance as Juju watched. He stated that, as a military commander, he wouldn't entertain any excuses or explanations. The prince ordered the main government official jailed, appointed Jiang Qingshan to take over, and said to report everything truthfully to his father. Juju's eyes sparkled as she internally praised her brother's awesomeness and predicted Jiang Qingshan's certain promotion. Jiang Qingshan then bowed deeply to the prince, promising to be fair and impartial in all cases, which the prince accepted. Juju overheard the jailed official grumbling threats to Jiang Qingshan, warning him to wait. Juju got furious, realizing that the plot to kill Jiang Qingshan would now happen sooner than in the original story. She then advised Jiang Qingshan not to get out of his sedan chair for the next few days, no matter what. Jiang Qingshan smiled, thanking Princess Juju for the reminder, though he clearly didn't understand her warning. Juju was frustrated that he hadn't listened and felt unsure how to explain the impending danger to him. Seeing Juju's concern, the prince thought it was difficult for her to explain clearly, so he would handle it himself. He then gently patted Juju's head, telling her not to worry. The prince then threatened to break the legs of anyone who dared to get off the sedan, shocking both Juju and Jiang Qingshan. Later, Jiang Qingshan heard a baby crying outside and asked his butler to stop, but the butler reminded him of the prince's and princess's strong warning. Jiang Qingshan insisted he couldn't ignore a freezing abandoned baby and ordered the car to stop. But the butler reminded Jiang Qingshan of his promise to the princess and offered an apology plan for later. But Jiang Qingshan ignored him, saying that the baby was the immediate priority. A hand hit Jiang Qingshan from behind, like preventing him from a danger. The old man with a kind smile smiles at him as he looks surprised and asks who he is. Those two men in matching outfits arrive, telling the others to calm down and explaining they were sent by the Grand Prince. The two men tell the older man to carry his parents back home, while stating that the baby is handed over to them. The two men walk away as the old man thanks them, saying he and his parents will go first. With a confident smirk, he recalls how he looked for a crying baby, stating that when he asks the heavens and the earth, he goes to the alley to look for the crying baby. A mischievous little girl excitedly asks her big brother to stop keeping them in suspense and tell Juju right away. The little Juju pouts, threatening that if Big Brother does not say anything, Juju will. The little girl giggles while tickling her big brother, exclaiming she will just tickle him. The big brother looks thoughtful, revealing that there was no baby crying in the alley, only a ventriloquist. Two men in uniform interrogate a kneeling man, discovering he was hired by the main government office to get the deputy government office out of the sedan chair so that he could do something illegal. The little Juju looks shocked and declares that Zheng Fuya is such a cunning villain. The big brother reassures Juju that her father has already dismissed him from his post and sentenced him, to which she happily responds, "It is very good." Juju, with a determined look, asks about the people from the Jiang and Liu families, asserting that they must also receive the punishment they deserve. The big brother explains with a slight smile that Lao Pei was sentenced to death, and Jiang Qingshan was exiled, and his children were sent to the palace as slaves. Juju claps her hands in delight, proclaiming it is the wheel of fate. Juju's big brother playfully asks if she is going back to the palace now or if she will stay at Big Brother's house for 2 days before leaving. Juju insists she has something to ask Daddy when he returns to the palace. Her big brother tries to tempt her to stay, saying that Juju likes riding a big horse, so he will let her ride a big horse. Juju's eyes light up at the thought of riding a big horse, gleefully noting that Big Brother is taller than the prince, so it must be fun. Juju's eyes light up at the thought of riding a big horse, gleefully noting that Big Brother is taller than the prince, so it must be fun. Juju looks serious, understanding it is time to clear her mother and brother of suspicion. The big brother looks surprised, realizing it was about the 13th brother's attempt to poison his father. He agrees to escort her, recognizing that this matter is of great importance and cannot be delayed any longer. Juju cheerfully thanks her big brother. Juju excitedly calls out Daddy, Mommy upon her return. Juju's father warmly greets her, saying Juju is back. Her father lovingly welcomes her back, asking if baby Juju is finally back and if she had fun playing outside the palace. Her father promises that Daddy will take her out of the palace to play next time. He embraces Juju, expressing how much he missed her, saying those two brats finally returned Juju to him and he missed them so much. Juju then begins to share some news, saying Juju heard that. Her father looks surprised as Juju mentions her sister-in-law, Princess Wen, is returning to the capital today. He looks astonished, asking where she heard that. Juju looks distressed, understanding that Princess Wen finally came back and this opportunity cannot be missed. A flashback shows a hand reaching out, recalling that Prince Dun accidentally ate his father's poisoned food and died. The father is furious, seen shouting commands and ordering a thorough investigation. Princess Wen, smiling serenely, is revealed to have received a large sum of money from the real murderer. The slanderous and unpopular 13th prince took the blame. In the end, the 13th prince was wrongfully imprisoned. His biological mother was also implicated, and Princess Wen just ran away. Juju is determined to uncover the truth and clear her brother and mother's names, vowing that no matter what, she has to convince Dad to reinvestigate this case. The father looks worried, realizing there was indeed a hidden story behind what happened back then. Gently pats Juju's head, thinking about how they have been really wronged over the years. He stands with Juju and her mother, explaining that he came here today just to talk about this, wanting to release the 13th prince, and then carefully investigate what happened. Juju's mother looks surprised, a thought with curiosity. Juju's mother kneels to thank her husband, who tells her there is no need to thank him, and to just tell him everything she can remember. The man asks Juju's mother if she remembers any strange behavior of the 13th prince before the incident, but she replies she does not think so. The man looks worried, thinking Princess Wen will not stay for too long this time, as it has been a long time since the incident happened. He stands with Juju, pondering that if they do not remember it, it will be difficult to find out. Juju looks thoughtful, realizing it seems that if they want to find out, they can only start with Princess Wen. The scene shows a bag of money and a pill, explaining Princess Wen accepted money from the real murderer and a pill that could save her biological mother's life, so she testified against her 13th brother. It is showing a woman in pink. As the narration explains, he accidentally gave the real murderer a handle during the transaction, and the real murderer used it to threaten Princess Wen in exchange for silver over the years. The narration continues, explaining Princess Wen had already married far away, so if the real murderer wanted to threaten her, he would have to exchange letters. Juju looks hopeful, thinking if they can find out Princess Wen as recent letters, the truth will be revealed. Juju's father, looking determined, orders someone to go and thoroughly investigate all the correspondence between Princess Wen and the 2 months before the incident, believing that since she was the one who testified against the 13th prince, they could always find some clues. Juju looks at her father, who has a funny, angry face, and he asks what day it is today. Her father smiles, thinking he is not as smart as Juju and cannot count how many times she has helped him, while Juju wonders why Daddy looks at Juju like this. Juju's father lovingly squishes her face, saying it is because Juju is cute and father cannot get enough of it. Juju looks a little annoyed by her father's smooth talk, wondering when Daddy became so smooth-talking. Juju's mother smiles sweetly. Juju's father holds Juju, thinking if mother is happy, Juju is happy. Juju's father looks at Juju's mother with a loving expression, confirming indeed, as long as Lifey is happy, he will be happy too. Juju's father declares time is running out and he will go to investigate the case, promising this time he will definitely give her and her son an explanation. Juju's father thinks to himself that it seems he has to do more things to make life happy in the future. Juju happily tells her mother that Juju also bought a gift for her when he left the palace this time. Juju looks confused, wondering why she cannot find Juju's purse, while her mother smiles, saying it must have run away when she came back, adding it does not matter, it is enough that she has the intention. Juju, with a bright smile, asks her mother to please look for her in the palace first, telling her mother to just stay in the palace and wait for her. Juju walks outside, looking for her purse and wondering where it went. Juju spots a man and thinks that person is the vice chief of the Imperial Hospital. Juju's thoughts reveal that what he holds in his hand is Juju's purse. Juju greets the man, who bows and says he has met the 18th princess. Juju, with a determined expression, tells him there is no need to bow. Just return the purse to Juju. The man holds out the purse to Juju, apologizing and saying he did not know the purse was hers, and that he only opened it to find clues about the owner, assuring he only looked at the prescription inside the box and definitely did not steal anything. The man explains he has read the contents of the prescription, and it seems to be a long-lost prescription that can cure all kinds of poisons. The man, looking intrigued, asks the princess if she could please lend him the prescription for research. Juju, holding her purse tightly, firmly states that will not do, as this prescription is Juju's treasure and cannot be passed on to anyone else. The narration explains this was what the Dean's grandmother asked Juju to carry on her back in her previous life. The man, with his hands clasped, apologizes for being rude and says he will pretend that he has never seen it, assuring the princess to rest assured. Juju, pleased, says that is good, and Juju will go back to find mother first and walks away. On the other side, Princess Wen, adopted by the late emperor for marriage and now married to the Mengdan tribe as the queen, asks about the investigation going on with the prescription. A servant tells Princess Wen that he came back to the capital this time just to get medicine for his mother, and time is tight, with no time to waste. The servant continues, saying he saw the vice president of the Imperial Hospital meet the 18th princess. The servant looks surprised, stating Princess 18 seems to have a prescription for detoxification. The servant explains he heard that she is the new favorite of the current emperor. Princess Wen smiles cunningly, thinking she was able to let her brother enter, so how hard could it be to deal with her? Princess Wen, with a sinister smile, thinks when Princess 18 is alone, she will be notified, and she will find a way to get the prescription from her. A cute little dog, Da Huang, with its tongue out, looks adorable and friendly. Juju smiles with delight as she lovingly holds the new puppy. Juju's father and mother smile as he asks Juju if she likes this gift, while Juju affectionately holds the puppy. Juju happily hugs the puppy, exclaiming that she likes it very much. Juju's father watches her with a soft expression, remembering that Juju wanted a dog in her previous life but never had one because she had no money. He smiles, revealing the dog's name is Da Huang and that he personally raised it. Juju's father gently pats her head, asking if Da Huang can protect Juju from now on, to which she happily replies, "Okay, thank you, Dad." Juju, holding Da Huang, excitedly declares she wants to develop feelings with Da Huang and tells her daddy not to follow them, wanting to play alone. Juju's father watches her go with a gentle smile, deciding to forget it and just let Juju be happy. Juju sits outside with Da Huang, asking the puppy if he likes this gift. Princess Wen watches from afar as Juju plays with Da Huang, who barks happily. She subtly smiles, thinking the time finally came when Juju was left alone. Princess Wen's elegant robes are seen as she walks closer to Juju. Princess Wen stands near Juju and calls out, "Princess Juju." Princess Wen introduces herself as the queen of the Mengdan tribe, explaining she paid a visit to the palace today and was very charmed by Juju. She holds out a delicate box, claiming it contains the rarest cowhide candy of the Mengdan tribe. Princess Wen offers the candy to Juju to try, while Juju inwardly questions if this is Princess Wen. Juju looks, realizing it was Princess Wen who caused her mother and brother to bear the blame. Juju recoils from the candy, thinking Princess Wen tried to please her for no reason and definitely had no good intentions. Princess Wen urges her not to. Princess Wen's smile drops into a frown, clenching her teeth as she thinks Juju really does not know the candy's value, wondering if Juju knew about the past grudges and deliberately humiliated her. Princess Wen quickly dismisses the thought, convincing herself Juju is just a little kid who cannot understand these things and is probably just not interested because she has never seen sticky candy before. Princess Wen, forcing a sweet smile, tries again, saying the candy is very fragrant and sticky, and Juju will love it when she tries it. Juju's hand is suddenly grasped by Princess Wen's arm. Juju angrily shoves the box of candy away, declaring she does not want to eat it and is not interested in the food Princess Wen gave her. Princess Wen looks furious and teary, realizing Juju is not interested in what she gave her and seems to hold a grudge, but she decides she cannot care about that now. Wen, with a fiery gaze, points at Princess Wen and shouts that Princess 18 forced her to do this. Juju pretends to be distressed and cries out that someone is robbing. Da Huang charges forward and bites Princess Wen, making her flinch back in shock. Princess Wen screams "Ah!" as Da Huang bites her. Princess Wen flees with Da Huang in hot pursuit, crying, "Help, help!" Princess Wen, disheveled and distraught, spots Juju's father and mother approaching. The Emperor and his queen mother arrive, and Princess Wen cries out for their help. Juju's father, the Emperor, orders Da Huang to stop, as his queen mother looks worriedly at the scene. The cute little dog Da Huang, with its tongue out, looks adorable and friendly. The Emperor says that he has trained Da Huang to bite and protect Juju. He also shouted on why you acted rashly while entering the palace. She fears that if the truth is said, she will definitely be punished. So she lied that the princess was offered some snacks, but the dog started to bite her immediately. But he understood that she lied again, just like she framed the 18th price back then. So it was the time now to settle the old and new account now. The Emperor gathers everyone in a grand room, stating he called them there today, in the hope they can bear witness. Princess Wen claims that Juju had ordered Da Huang to chase and bite her for no reason, and demands that Juju be severely punished. The Emperor, holding Juju protectively, states that Juju has always been well-behaved and sensible, and would never hurt anyone without reason, then sternly asks Princess Wen what evidence she has. Princess Wen, tearfully distraught, argues that the Emperor and the Queen Mother saw with their own eyes how she was chased and bitten by a dog just now, insisting if it was not for Princess 18 ordering the dog to bite her, how could she be in such a mess? The Emperor turns to Juju, asking her to tell father why Da Huang chased after Princess Wen and bit her. Juju looks distressed and begins to say, because. Juju bravely states that it was because the 18th princess was spoiled and acted recklessly, while Princess Wen looks shocked. Princess Wen furiously tells Juju to shut up, saying she did not ask her. Juju, with wide accusing eyes, reveals that Princess Wen lied, that she was the one who stole Juju's purse first, and Da Huang chased and bit her because he wanted to protect Juju. Princess Wen, with a fake smile, defensively states that she was once a princess and is now married to Mengdan as a queen. Princess Wen asks why she should steal the purse of a child like Juju. As Juju looks up at her father, Juju looks upset and struggles to explain herself, saying, This is because Princess Wen, with a cunning smile, mocks Juju, asking if she cannot tell the reason and accusing her of lying. Juju looks troubled, recalling that the book said Princess Wen's biological mother was seriously ill. Juju's purse with a floating paper shows that Juju happened to have the prescription Princess Wen wanted most in her pocket. Juju suspects that perhaps the news of the Vice Dean picking up the prescription got out, and Princess Wen was unable to curry favor with him today, so she just snatched it away. Juju looks frustrated, thinking she just read this from books and has no evidence. Juju's father shouts, asking what there is to grab, as a hand is seen reaching for something. The Emperor, with a stern expression, reveals that Juju's purse contains the medicine that can cure Princess Wen's mother's disease, and that Princess Wen came back this time just for this. He then challenges her, asking, Do not you think I do not know? Princess Wen looks shocked and furious, thinking the Emperor actually knew about her biological mother and the prescription. Princess Wen looks panicked, wondering what to do now. Juju looks admiringly at her father, thinking Daddy actually found out the purpose of Princess Wen's return, which is so awesome. Juju looks thoughtful, pondering that only the Deputy Dean knew about the prescription, and he never told Dad, so how did Dad know it? The emperor reveals that the deputy dean has already told him that Princess Wen entrusted him to treat her biological mother over the years, and that Juju has the prescription in her hand. The emperor points accusingly at Princess Wen, asking if she does not think she has hidden it perfectly. Juju looks surprised and a little amused, realizing that the vice dean is really a big mouth. The scene shows the vice dean sneezing, as he thinks he clearly promised Juju not to tell anyone else, but he still told Daddy, wondering who is talking about him behind his back. Princess Wen looks utterly defeated and cries out, "This is a frame-up." She claims that Princess 18 must have known that she had accused Prince 13 of poisoning, and she must have held a grudge against her, so she teamed up with the vice dean to plan all this. Juju looks innocent, while Princess Wen, still crying, tells the emperor that Juju is so insidious at such a young age and asks His Majesty to please be careful. The emperor, looking directly at Princess Wen, asks her if she really wants him to investigate, then declares that since she mentioned what happened back then, he will investigate it for her. The emperor orders a servant named Fuan to bring the things over. The emperor holds up a stack of letters, announcing that these are the letters Princess Wen exchanged with Qing Fei after her marriage. The emperor explains that the letters record all the evidence that Qing Fei poisoned Princess Wen, bribed her to give false testimony to slander the 13th prince, and used this to blackmail her. Princess Wen looks absolutely stunned, gasping, "What? This is impossible. This must be fake." Princess Wen looks furious and frantic, shouting that she obviously burned all these letters and there is no way anyone would have found them. The emperor looks calmly at Princess Wen, stating that it seems she does not know what she got from the messenger is fake, and then reveals that in order to threaten her and Qing Fei, the messenger hid the real letter and copied a fake one for her. The emperor pronounces Princess Wen's punishment. She slandered the royal family, and according to the law she should be executed, but in consideration of her meritorious service at the original marriage, her title of princess will be revoked, and she will be sent back to Mangdan, unable to return to the country without being summoned. Princess Wen looks utterly shocked and begs to be let go. Juju watches Princess Wen being led away, thinking that without the title of princess, it is equivalent to losing someone to rely on, and life will not be easy after returning to Mangdan. Juju, with a satisfied expression, thinks that Princess Wen was the one who harmed people first, so this is what she deserved. The emperor turns to Juju's mother, saying there is one more thing. The emperor takes his wife's hand, revealing that the 13th prince had nothing to do with the poisoning. Juju's mother looks shocked, as the emperor announces the 13th prince is exempt from punishment and will receive a reward of 10,000 taels of gold and jade. Juju's mother looks relieved and grateful, thanking His Majesty for his insight. The emperor smiles, telling Li-Fi she does not have to thank him. The emperor smiles softly at his wife, thinking he should have investigated this matter thoroughly long ago and let her suffer injustice. Juju's father tells her that 13th brother has now been cleared of all charges, and Juju can meet him. Juju looks very happy and excited, thinking Juju is looking forward to it and wants to see him soon. Juju and her mother stand before a dark prison cell, and Juju wonders if this is the prison where Brother 13 is imprisoned. Juju looks worried, thinking if she had known earlier, she would have asked Dad to interrogate Qing Fei later and accompany Juju and Mother to pick up her brother first, lamenting that this is too scary. Juju's mother looks concerned, asking if it is true that Brother 13, who has been locked up here for so long, will not have any mental problems. Juju's mother looks sad, acknowledging that Juju's worries are not without reason and it is indeed not advisable to stay here for a long time, hoping her son is okay. The 13th prince sits barefoot in a dark cell, thinking he has been imprisoned here for several years and does not know how his mother is doing. He looks up, seemingly lost in thought. The boy looks surprised, wondering what happened and why the cell door suddenly opened, as Juju and her mother are seen approaching. Juju's mother, looking distraught, and the boy cries out, "Mother?" The boy looks confused, wondering why his mother came to see him suddenly and cried so sadly. Two guards lift the boy, telling him the prince should please rise, as he looks stunned. The boy looks shocked and distraught, thinking even the jailer wanted to take him away, and wonders if it could be that his father ordered him to be killed. The boy screams that he does not want to die. The boy looks fearful, while Juju's mother looks sorrowful, and Juju observes the scene. Juju's brother looks at Juju, thinking he has never seen this little girl, but judging by her dress, she should be of high status. Juju's brother thinks she also looks like a sweet and cute child, and if not, he would not want to hurt her. The brother's expression hardens as he clutches Juju, thinking there is no other way, this is the only way, and apologizes to her, saying although she is innocent, he really does not want to die. The brother grabs Juju by the neck and shouts at the guards to let him go, otherwise they should not blame him for being rude to her. Juju, with wide eyes, looks scared and shocked, wondering what is going on. Juju's brother looks determinedly at her, and then his expression softens, realizing no one is talking and wondering where this sound is coming from, noting it sounds like the voice of this little girl, and then understands he is hurting his own sister. Juju's brother lets go of her and looks apologetic, saying sorry, this is all his fault. Juju looks puzzled, wondering why 13th brother acts differently every moment, and if he has really gone crazy after being locked up for too long. Juju's mother looks worriedly at her son, thinking how could this happen, and that he went crazy just after he was cleared of all charges. She decides she has to find a way to prevent His Majesty from finding out, embracing her son. Juju's mother looks, apologizing that mother was also trying to protect him, and then orders someone to tie up the prince and send him back to Chu Shuiju, then call a few highly skilled but low-key imperial physicians to examine her. Juju's brother, tied up, looks confused, wondering if he is going back to Kushiluju and if he was released, but then questions why mother tied him up. Juju looks at her mother, asking, "Mother?" Juju's mother smiles kindly, reassuring Juju that mother just does not want her father to know about the 13th prince's situation, and promises she will find a way to protect her. Juju's father, the emperor, looks pleased, thinking old 13 has been released, and he should be able to reunite with them if he goes there now. The emperor, looking serious, asks, "Who is that?" Seeing a group of people, the emperor confronts the group, demanding to know what palace they are from, and why they have summoned so many imperial doctors. An imperial doctor looks nervous, stating, "Yes, I asked him to go for a medical consultation," while the emperor looks surprised and asks, "What?" The emperor looks confused and concerned, asking where Li Fei and Juju are, and who is sick. Juju's mother embraces Juju, looking a little flustered, thinking she is really not crazy. The emperor looks at his wife with a worried expression, asking, "Princess Li, what's going on?" Juju's mother looks hesitant and struggles to answer, saying, This is. Juju's mother looks distressed, thinking His Majesty has now discovered that her son is crazy, and wonders what if he throws him back into prison in a rage. The emperor looks at his wife, asking why she is hesitating, and if there is anything she cannot tell him. Ju looks worriedly at her father, thinking dad must think that mom does not trust him. Juju looks determined, thinking Juju has to think of a way, and wondering how she can make dad stop disliking 13th brother and clear up the misunderstanding. Juju looks thoughtful, indicating there is only way. Juju's brother is seen wrapped up like a mummy, with only his eyes showing, while Juju looks at him. Juju's father and mother stand together, creating a heavy atmosphere. Juju looks overwhelmed, wondering what they should do in such a chaotic situation. Juju's brother yells that he is fine, pushing away the hands trying to restrain him. Juju's brother shouts, "Don't come over," as guards approach him. Juju's eyes sparkle with an idea, realizing there is a way. Juju looks up at her father, suggesting, "Let's check on my brother's condition first." Juju's father, the emperor, looks at her, asking why she came so quickly and if she is not worried about her brother. The emperor turns to Juju's mother, explaining he came because he heard from the imperial physician that she asked someone to see a doctor, and he was worried. Then asks her why. Since 13 is sick, she does not just tell him directly. Juju's mother looks hesitant, struggling to find words. The emperor gently asks if she is afraid of scaring him, and Juju quickly agrees. Juju explains that her brother was a little excited when he was released from prison, and her mother was afraid he would offend her father, so she wanted to wait until he calmed down before letting him see her father. Juju continues to explain, stating it is because daddy feels guilty towards mom and her brother for so many years, that mom is afraid that daddy will get angry and put her brother back in jail, and that daddy also questioned mom angrily, so daddy is bad. The emperor looks ashamed, realizing he was indeed thinking that Li Fei was hiding something from him just now, and was only concerned about his own sadness, ignoring Li Fei's feelings. The emperor looks at his wife with a softer expression, thinking fortunately, Juju reminded him, otherwise he would be ashamed of them again. Then asks her if everything Juju said is true. Juju's mother kneels before the emperor, explaining that 13 is just not used to being locked up for so long, and she is not hiding this maliciously. Juju's mother tearfully begs the emperor not to despise him and lock him up again. The emperor offers his hand to his wife, telling her she misunderstood, and asking her what His Majesty means. The emperor smiles reassuringly, explaining that 13 is her son and also his son, and she does not want her son to suffer, and neither does he, promising now that he has released him from prison, he will not lock him up again. The emperor holds his wife's hand, saying that she and 13 have indeed been wronged over the years, and he understands her concerns. The emperor promises her that he will treat you well in the future, so you can rest assured. Juju's brother looks astonished, thinking he was released and wondering if his father did not let his mother and sister come to see him just to kill him. Juju looks surprised, realizing her brother's actions were not because he was crazy, but he just misunderstood that he was going to die. The emperor and his wife look at each other, realizing that today's misunderstanding is quite big. The emperor smiles, telling Li Fei to please take Juju out and wait for a while, as he wants to talk to his son alone, adding he has neglected him for so many years, and now he should fulfill his responsibilities as a father. Juju claps her hands in joy, thinking, "Great, it seems the misunderstanding has been cleared up." Juju asks her mother, "Didn't Daddy say that he would not lock up my brother anymore?" Then wonders why Mother is still crying. Juju's mother smiles through her tears, explaining, she is crying because she is happy. Juju's mother pats her head, explaining that now 13 has been cleared of his grievances, and he is favored by His Majesty, so her mother's family can also rest assured. Juju looks surprised, asking, "My mother as family?" Juju hasn't met them yet. Juju's mother smiles, asking, "Does she want to go meet them?" Juju happily says she wants to go with her mother. Juju's mother looks, explaining that concubines who have entered the palace cannot leave at will, and asks, how about letting brother 13 take her there? Juju states that if her mother does not go, Juju will not go either, insisting if they want to go back, the whole family should go back together, otherwise Juju will not go back either, to which her mother agreed. The emperor, with a calm expression, looks at his wife and son, saying if they want to go back, let's go back together, and if they do not want to go back, let's not go back together. The emperor announces them to get ready, and after the morning court tomorrow, he will accompany you and take Juju and Shisan back to your parents' home. A servant looks concerned, stating, "This is inappropriate." The emperor, with smile, declares, "This is an imperial decree. Anyone who thinks it is inappropriate can come to him." The emperor smiles at his son, telling 13 that he has said what he promised, and now it is his turn. Juju and her mother look on as the emperor speaks to his son. The 13th brother looks at Juju and apologizes for pinching her before, offering her a small, self-made gift, hoping she does not mind. Juju thanks her brother, saying Juju likes it very much and does not blame him for what happened before, as her brother promises he will definitely protect her well and give her better gifts in the future. The emperor gently touches his wife's face, bringing up the topic of tomorrow. The emperor looks at Juju and her brother, asking how about letting Juju return to his male body tomorrow. Juju's mother looks thoughtful, realizing, come to think of it, Your Majesty still doesn't know that Juju is a girl. Juju looks distressed, while her brother, looking confused, asks, if isn't Juju a younger sister? As Juju tries to silence him, he said, Juju, don't be a boy.